Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D, campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party successfully saved the Sundragon city of Capacitas, chasing off and assassinating the Kotengu and Goblin colonies that had taken over a massive airship and were using it as a weapon of war against the Sundragon Kingdom. Also, Austin, are you on the Roll20? I don't see you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, music's gonna be playing, so make sure you join that. Welcome. Successfully saving the Kingdom of Sundragon, the party took some time to rest and recoup. Gil going in for surgery to get some much-needed medical attention for their arms. The rest of the party just taking the time to not run from place to place, loot everything that wasn't nailed down on the airship, before Raccoon parted ways with the party to take her rightful place as the goblin boss of this colony and take what's left of the airship off into the distant mountains, where they will build a new life for themselves. As a few months went by, the party's reputation began to spread, and with that new attention came an escalation of sorts. The Sundragon militia intends to march to the south to reinforce their allies in Autumnfall, as Shadow Lily, Tebadra, and Blackthorn are not keeping their word to assist members of the Western Alliance against the Scar Concord, which means Autumnfall stands alone against the armies of Barbarous. But Sundragon does not intend to let that be the case for long, now that Trobu is off her back. The party moves to join the militia, but not before picking up a new member. A mysterious, oversized halfling alchemist and chemist, who, having heard of the party's reputation, joined them and offering their chemical expertise in exchange for assistance with something they need done in the Curtail cannot. As the party joins the militia, Zephyr makes a few friends by distributing beer. Caleb lounges in their favorite couch. Lucian makes a decent impression to the Sundragon people and the Queen. And Gil, via their beanbag, managed to get some much-needed insight into Barbarous's motivations and drives, which gives them at least something to work with. With that, as the party settles in, ready to move, the Sundragon militia is ready to march, and as the army gathers together, the Queen Sundragon seems like she intends to give a speech, or at least something resembling one. Lucian, she doesn't strike you as the overly formal type.
Right.
As she raises her triple-pronged side blades, she commands the attention of the militia, which is easily close to 1,000 people. And as their attention is commanded, she smiles and speaks. No magical enhancement needed. Her voice carries across the desert sands as she speaks deep from the chest for her voice to carry. And none of you are quite sure what to expect from her, but with the same excited, casual grin that she would give a friend in conversation, she addresses the troops. All right, people. I think we've been sitting idle in the sands for long enough. What do you say we show those barbarous guys a little of the old Sundragon tradition. And this gets some like excited cheering and chattering from the militia. And she gives a more serious look, and Lucian, you note that her blonde hair begins to wave almost unbidden, as if some sort of like arcane energy is circulating through it, and her eyes, which are normally a kind of like almost violet, like lilac color, shift to a deep burning blood red as she enters a barbarian rage. As she raises both pronged sighs into the air, and for Sundragon, for the Western Alliance, for Sothis, kill everyone you see. Take anything that isn't nailed down. These are Sundragon lands. If we burn, you burn. And with that, a uproar goes through the militia as they don't break out into a military march, they break out into a raider's run. Not intending to do an organized political conquest, you can all tell as chaos erupts around the carriage, the Sundragon troops are just going to leave a trail of destruction wherever they go. Anyone who gets in their way is sure to be flattened.
I know, she's really intense.
Lucian has a thing for barbarians.
I don't know if I like this idea.
This is a little bit more intense than I bargained for, but at least the barbarians will be gone.
Wielding her golden armor, she raises an arm, and you all watch as this large, kind of hunched back wolf strides up alongside her, and you see that she has command of a warg, but a very large one. Its fur is this kind of like snowy white, and you can see there's war paint all over its face, and it snarls and drools and snaps as she comes astride it, almost dwarfing the creature itself. But you realize this isn't a warhorse just to carry the burden. This is a warhorse that is just as much a weapon as the woman riding it. As the Sundragon militia marches to war, you all have to, Gil, you have to kind of quickly whip Butters and your newly purchased warhorse, who I will just refer to as Warhorse until they are given a name. You have to give that kind of like your warhorse gives this kind of like that full on like on the back legs waving of the hooves, and Butters just kind of lazily like starts to trot forward.
I love Butters.
Exotic Butters.
Yeah, exotic Butters. Yeah. If you took them to a place that doesn't have horses, normally they would be an exotic butter. All right.
I know what I'm going to name my horse. It's Peanut.
All right, Peanut and Butters.
Peanut butter.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. As Peanut and Butters start pulling the carriage, Lucian, are you going to stay with Sundragon, or are you going to rejoin your party?
I mean, are we all going to the same spot?
More or less. Although, granted, she hasn't given you a necessary direction yet.
I'll stick with Sundragon, and I'll get out my staff, and I'll be astride my broom. I will summon Mish at the end of my broom, and I'll be like, "Let's go."
Okay.
And I think Mish is actually a hawk right now, so.
Yeah, you transformed them last session, so.
Right, I'm gonna let Mish fly ahead of us, And let's see. I won't be able to see or hear if I go into his eyes.
Yeah, and flying's probably not a good time to do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Mish know that he can go ahead, and if he sees anything like concerning, to come and report to me.
Okay.
I see a huge group of barbarians going all over the place.
Mish gives you a nod and flies off to start just circling the militia as they charge off into the desert. Lucian, astride your broom, you desperately fight to keep pace with the queen, who basically starts forming a cavalry unit of warg riders to basically like get ahead of the rest of the infantry, presumably so that they will be the first into battle should battle come to you. As Peanut and Butters pull the cart along and Lucian, you ride your broom, Zephyr, you manage to get away from the improvised beer cart and get astride the carriage just as the horses start to take off. Is there anything any of you would like to do just while you're marching with the militia?
Where's Red?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did Red ever show up?
Alright, perception. 21.
From your position atop the carriage, you kind of look around for your Ickerson, and you manage to settle your eyes among the just shrieking crowd of maniacs. You manage to make out a familiar set of patchy red scales. Red does appear to be with you. It appears he's hitched a ride on seemingly the cart that you filled up with beer.
I do want to mention that my broom of flying does have a speed of 50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, Red is currently in a cart that's being pulled along by the militia. As the militia marches, from the sounds of it, there's no urgent business, so... Peanut and Butters stretch themselves to their limits. What's up?
I was saying, not urgent, but Gil did want to take out another candy.
Yeah, you were just gonna keep eating that from that bag until it kills you, aren't you?
Well, except I've read through the entire list, and it has some really useful things. If we run into anything, I want to be prepared.
Okay, roll a D100.
Like, some of those things are only good for like, if you're
An
in
hour.
combat. Yeah, if you're in combat.
Might need to give them a recap, by the way, Matthew.
Oh, yeah, I'd done a recap at the beginning of the session, but I think you showed up like right after. Basically, you are with the party who's joining the Sundragon militia, who are basically marching south to. Who are heading south to reinforce the Kingdom of Autumnfall, which is currently at war with the Kingdom of Barbarous, because the Shadow Lily Confederacy, Kingdom of Tebadra, and Kingdom of Blackthorn were supposed to help them but didn't. So Sundragon's the only one who's going to show up. And Barbarous is one of the Scar Concord.
But I believe the party was gonna go. Was basically gonna follow them down there, then go to.
Split off.
Yeah, go to Major and then come back to finish the job.
Mm-hmm. All right, and as for you, Gil, what'd you get on your D100?
99.
All right.
Wow.
Give me just a second. I gotta pull your character sheet up so I can access the item.
It's a good one.
Yeah, usually the high ones are like pretty good. Give me just a second. Yeah, there we go. Bag of many candies. 99, 99, 99.
My question is, how do you
Okay.
use it?
Gil, right now, wish for something.
I want what's his name?
What the-
The
Okay.
like I know what I want. I'm just trying to remember
Well-
the name.
You already said what you want.
I want, what's his name?
Gil, as you guys carriage your way along, Gil, as you pop.
Like, I had this
You had-
planned
You
out.
need to write shit down or ask me.
Kaloom. I want Kaloom to die. That's what I was trying to get out of my mouth when I was stuttering.
Too late now.
Yeah, that's not just me being a dick. That's actually how the wish spell works.
there's a...
Well, don't I have to say I?
No, it's
With-
not. No, it's not.
You said you got the wish spell, but have to use it in an instant. And you said, "I want what's his name." Saying that is a statement of wanting something.
Yeah,
Wait. What does that mean though? He's just gonna like fucking teleport Kaloom
He's
right
gonna-
in front of his ass?
It's gonna
Well,
fucking
no.
like
He's
materialize.
he's gonna teleport someone who's named what's his name for I'm assuming.
Well,
Oh
not
my
necessarily. Gil,
Nah, man.
Gil, flip a coin.
Oh no. Oh no.
I don't have
know.
coins. Can I just like roll a D4 evens or
Yeah,
head
sure.
by
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
tails?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's even. So the heads.
Okay. Gil, your name is now What's-His.
Wow.
What?
You got What's-His name. Zephyr, Lucian, you remember meeting a Gyogran colonel by the name of What's-His on the train into Shadow Lily? Caleb, you remember joining a party. One of the members was a barbarian from Gyogre by the name of What's-His. Tuco, you remember meeting a tattooed elf who introduced himself to you as What's-His. Gil, you are the only one who remembers what your original name was, as you literally alter reality so that everyone remembers that your name was What's-His.
Once you get
Now it looks like I changed your name on on Discord. Be like, what's this?
I'm working on
You're gonna-
changing my character's name.
Matthew, you gonna change his name in his character sheet?
Well,
Oh
he said
my
he's doing
God.
I'm
it.
working
He said
on that
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, he's doing it.
his name what? His last name is his.
No, it.
No, his
It-
first name is What's-His.
Oh, and he just doesn't have a last name. Is it? That sounds fit.
Well, his last name would still be Gyogre.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
What's it, Gyogre?
What's his deal?
Oh my
This is
god.
fantastic.
Yeah. One thing
With
you
incredible power
For sure.
comes incredible responsibility.
Yeah, man.
And incredible wording.
That is some genie wish shit right there.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
the
essentially
wish
how
spell
it is.
literally says, the wish spell literally says the DM is encouraged to fuck with the wish's wording to give the party something they didn't want.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
like,
god.
that's why you have to be
All
careful with your
because
wish.
you can't say anything until you know what you want.
Yeah, no, you have to like there's like Lucian had a point. Like you need to write your wishes down, like rehearse them in your head, make sure there's no like weird interpretation. It's fucking buck wild.
So basically the wish
Oh,
spell is fucking
no.
useless.
I'm not used
unless you are really prepared. Because bear in mind, Gil was at a disadvantage here because he wasn't expecting to cast it, so he panicked, which is exactly what that bean is counting on. If he had time to prepare it, he could have like gone over it in his head, rehearsed what he wanted to say, and then cast it. But that did not happen here.
Oh no.
My God.
Yeah, if you're curious,
Well-
heads, I was going to change your name to What's-His. Tails, someone named What's-His-Name was going to teleport to you.
Man, that still would have been funny as fuck if Kaloum just got yanked out of whatever the hell he was doing.
Well,
and just
it wouldn't have been
I would've-
Gloom.
Yeah, it would have been him because he said, I want What's-His-Name.
Yeah, he wants.
Well, yeah, but if we're going by Death Note rules, you can just think about the person and it.
Well, it
Well-
doesn't work that way, which works based on the explicit word choice.
Yeah, but even
Oh,
then,
that's funny. Because
That's
I've seen
exactly
some media
Yeah,
where it
no.
fucks you up because you can make a wish, but if your heart thinks something else or your head thinks something else, it fucks you over.
Hmm. Yeah, no, in this case, it's genie rules. You have to, like, be
Word.
very careful about what you wish for.
Basically, the wish spell is a grammar Nazi.
Very much
Oh,
a grammar
no.
Nazi.
Oh no.
So now I am the bard of the group.
All right, so
Oh my God.
Because
I
I am
cannot
the only
believe
one that
this.
gets the joke.
so What's-His, as you continue to drive the cart onward, you pop a candy in your mouth. It has a kind of interesting taste to it. It kind of like squishes in your mouth like one of those little Jolly Ranchers.
It's like sour,
And
right?
it's very very juicy. And it tastes like banana.
Oh, I thought
um,
it was sour.
But then as you
Yeah.
as you're just thinking to yourself, like, God, I wish Kaloum would die. You can't remember his name off the top of your head, so you just kind of offhandedly say out loud, like, God, I want What's-His-Name? And reality bends, and Gil, although you yourself
Classic Gil.
as you yourself do not know it yet, but everyone believes that your name is and always was What's-It.
I guess he could technically pull like that move he pulled the first time into Major, where he started saying, "I'm going by a different name."
Also, isn't it a sour ball? But
No,
yeah.
they're like
Yeah,
different
it's supposed to be
candies.
I
sour.
know, but like, on here it actually says, like, I actually looked at the wish. It's a sour ball of wish making. They have names on them.
True, but the exterior would be sour. The inside can be juicy.
Yeah, juicy sour.
Sour and sweet.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those fucking candies. First they're sour, then they're sweet.
Sour Patch Kid.
But man, Kaloum's very angry of What's-His.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
How does somebody come up with that name, I wonder?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That means their parents had to name him that.
Yeah.
You altered reality where they
we all
named you
know his
What's-Its.
dad is not very imaginative, so it must have been his mom.
Yeah, so Gil, as you
Change your Discord name.
as you finish enjoying your little Sour Patch Kid sour ball of wish making, you do not quite yet realize the ramifications of what you just did.
Oh, yeah.
See if Gil is even able to realize.
And
what he did.
it's weird. It's
Or
not
if
like a
what's
really
this
bad
can even realize
migraine.
what he did.
Well, we just have to remember that's his name now. I was not addressing his skill.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Good luck.
It's like,
Yeah, I did as well, because I need to make sure every NPC who knows him does it. All right.
like a little sticky note.
Mm.
Gil now What's-Its?
Yeah.
Wonder
Yeah.
what 100 is.
100. Let me actually double check.
It is resurrection.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is useless a majority.
Oh no
of the time.
no! Bear in mind, you get a stone of resurrection.
Oh, it's
And
not
the
like
stone-
a wish
and-
spell
and-
where you have to use it in that moment.
Yeah,
No.
and the stone lasts. Specifically, it says it lasts until it's used.
Basically, just at one point you could just be like, "You're back."
Yeah. Anyway. Eventually, Peanut and Butters are pushed to their limits. And luckily, the barbarians can only rage so many times in a day, and unfortunately, their enemies are a little bit further away. However, energy is still riding high as the Queen calls for the army to set up camp for the night. You are surrounded on all sides. Yes, Lucian?
I want to do my tiny hut.
Okay, noted. Queen Sundragon brings the militia to a halt, and calling over her shoulder. Here's a good a spot as any. Set up camp. Everyone gets equal shares. No more, no less. And if anyone has a complaint about that, they can take it up with me. And with that, the militia, still energy riding high, excited to get to battle again. Everyone comes to a stop and starts approaching the various carts for supplies. Zephyr, you note with a smirk that you can see the two Sundragon people that you had sold the beer to are now distributing it among a few friends of theirs, but they seem to be getting paid for it. So they're profiting off of this little venture a little bit. Caleb, as you get up and look out the window, Tuco looking out the other, you can see that you're far from civilization now. Nothing but salt flats and desert sands all around you. However, you scan the skies, and you do not see any of Kaloom's constructs or anything else that concerns you. However, you do see the occasional Craven circling the sky, seeming like they're starting to pick up on the malicious trail and just wait for people to die and feed on them. Which is ominous.
I heard that moment where you had to think, Matthew.
Oh, no, it was actually because I was originally going to have Lucian do it, but then I was like, well, no, Lucian has something else they're going to be doing, and Caro's not here, so then I had to be like, okay, Gil will have this moment. Speaking of...
You mean what's his?
Yes. Kero hops off of the coach seat and starts to settle the pack of animals you guys have had following you. And Lucian, you approach the campsite and see that the party is a little dusty, a little bit of sand in their trousers, a little windswept, but otherwise look none the worse for wear. And you start making the preparations to cast your long-awaited tiny hut. As Lucian makes those preparations, does anyone have anything they'd like to do during this long rest, or is everyone just kind of content to sleep and continue the march?
Just for now, sleep.
Yeah, Caleb's just gonna sleep. He's gonna figure that they probably have guards for this camp already, so no one on the party gets to go on guard duty.
Okay.
Yeah, Zephyr's like, if there is people, then there's at least a lot of meat shields.
A lot of meat shields.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zephyr. I don't think Zephyr has anything planned. So.
All right. Lucian, Lucian's casting tiny hut. What's his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Nothing planned.
All right, Tuco, you have anything you'd like to do tonight?
Not really.
Okay. You all settle. Some of you spool out bedrolls. Some of you sleep in the carriage. Caleb claiming your usual favorite spot and starting to get to a medically concerning amount of necessary sleep, given that you were sleeping during most of the trip and are now sleeping for the night.
Matthew.
Yes.
I remember being 14, and I slept a fucking lot.
No, that's fair. I was just more pointing out.
Yeah, to me it was the opposite. I was like, I want like 3 to 4 hours of sleep, bare max.
You were hatched backwards.
I was the worst of both worlds. I wanted to sleep as little as possible and then slept too much.
Oh no.
All right. As Caro goes about settling the animals, Zephyr, you just kind of idly patrol. Caleb, comfy in the carriage. Tuco, you make yourself comfortable wherever you wish. You can spool out of bedroll or sleep in the carriage. There is a free seat.
There's room in the
I'm in
tiny
the
hut.
tiny hut. I'm making it for a reason.
Well, the tiny hut
I'll
encompasses
sleep in
everyone,
there.
don't it?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Yeah,
just,
it
it only allows
Oh, you're
allows,
echoing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to one mic at a time.
hang on. It's
it fits us.
6 to 8. Let me check the spell.
It fit about a certain amount of people in a room.
Yeah, but they still need to find places to physically sleep.
Yeah, it's just a protective circle mostly.
hmm Basically, if someone attacks the camp, they'll pass you by.
Well, they can't go through because I don't want them.
Yeah,
Hence, and that's why I said they pass you by.
yeah, they'll probably choose to
10
ignore
foot
you.
radius. 9 creatures of medium size.
So yeah, you're fine. The animals will be left out, but the party is more than sufficient. All
It's
right.
nice and it's comfortable.
As you guys settle in for dinner, Lucian prepping the casting of Tiny Hut, you all break out your rations and water. So, as per the norm, day of rations and water from each of you. Tuco, for your reference, you always have 3 days of water on hand at a time, but you'll need to refill it if you run out. And I believe you start with 10 days of food. So, all right. So, as you all settle in to dip into your rations and water, as Lucian prepares to cast a protective spell that will at least ensure even if the militia and your pack gets slaughtered, the party will persevere. Queen Sundragon approaches your group. At this
Come
point,
in.
well, bear in mind, you're still prepping the casting anyway.
It takes like a minute.
Yeah, and that's a minute of prepping.
You're not talking to her.
Hold up a finger. 1 minute.
Yeah, now you gotta start over.
She kind of smirks a little bit. You can see at this point her hair has returned to normal and her eyes have returned to their usual lilac. And she smiles and, I don't plan to take up too much of your time. I just wanted to get you guys input on something. And she looks over to the carriage where the bulk of you are gathered and kind of steps forward to kind of glance curiously into the carriage itself where Tuco's eating and Caleb's going down for sleep, and gives a kind of friendly wave before she looks to you, Zephyr, and kind of gives you like a smirk before looking over all of you. And where we're at right now, besides very sandy, is a crossroads. We cut east. It's going to take longer to get to Autumnfall, but we can do some plundering in the Humor Empire on the way. And she nods over her shoulder to all the various carts packing the barbarian soldiers. Let's just say everyone's real excited to start paying the Scar Concord back in full for what they did to us. But this is you guys' fight just as much as it is ours. And, well, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here to give a speech about it. So she nods, and taking a map from her belt, she kind of unfurls it and shows, kind of, it's a little clumsy. Her emotion's almost childlike, as it seems she's still not really used to the professional aspect of royalty, as she kind of awkwardly positions herself to be able to hold the map unfurled while still pointing to it with her left hand, as she gestures. If you want to do a little extra damage to the Concord on the way, we can head east and reach the town of Caligay in the Humor Empire and start there. But if you guys just want to get there faster and make sure we have the element of surprise, we can cut south. I know it doesn't look it, but if you look closely, and she taps where you can see the sea of glass comes into a gulf in Sundragon's territory. There's an isthmus Is that how you say it? Isthmus? There's a little land bridge. It's hard to see, but I know it's there. We can make a pit stop in town near one of the lakes, and Isthmus should give us a little bit of a shortcut, and Barbarous won't know we're coming until it's too late, unless they know Troop is dead already. But even then, she smiles a little bit. I imagine he'll be surprised at how quickly we can recover.
I guess it's a matter
Well,
of how big is this land bridge? Will you have to go single file to get through it?
No. As long as we form maybe 3 ranks, should be enough. As long as it's not high tide.
If it's high tide, I assume it's going to be very narrow.
If it's high tide, and she rolls the map back up, we're swimming.
You're
Swimming, eh? It's been a while.
you don't have to swim. Don't worry.
I see, I'd imagine the Tebadras being bandits know a thing or two about ideal ambush positions.
Yes.
And this probably seems very much like one.
Well, that's up to you.
Which
well, even from a military
give me-
standpoint,
I'm not getting
It-
into it.
it definitely seems like if someone were to wait for high tide and see people swimming across, that would be the perfect time to shoot them, because it'd be like shooting fish in a barrel.
She kind of gives a nod to you. Fair point. And she
Well-
kind of glances out to the east.
At the
And
same time, if they know we're coming, they'll be more prepared, which will make the cost a lot greater.
is there any way after I do my ritual that I would be able to figure out if there is a high tide, like the
Well, considering
moon
high tides happen
is
multiple times a day.
waxing?
make a survival check.
Also, and Gil's gonna, well,
Yeah.
what's his is gonna tell this Sundragon.
You're
I
gonna
don't
need to
know
explain
about
it.
the whole plundering.
Yeah. Hold that thought really, really briefly. Keto, welcome. For what you missed, Gil ate another bean, which gave Gil nice. Gil ate another bean, which gave him a very brief use of the wish spell, but he fumbled his phrasing, and now, as far as Carol can remember, Gil's name has always been What's His. Because he said he wished for What's His name. Which means, side note, by the way, that there's a guy out there who was named What's His who's now named Gil. Just as a side note.
Oh yeah. Well, now we're eventually gonna meet that guy.
When I meet him, Gil's gonna go, I want my name back, you bastard!
But yeah,
Hey, you wished for it.
and
No.
the militia started marching. You guys are camping out in the desert right now, freezing cold. And Sundragon stopped by
No,
to
we're not.
and Sundragon stopped by to inform you guys that your options are you can head east into Humor Empire territory because the militia could do some raiding in the Humor Empire on the way. Basically weaken the Humor Empire and then make the strike against Barbarous. But if you want to play it safe, you can head south where there's an isthmus that a land bridge basically that can get you to the other side of Sundragon territory without having to worry about the Humor Empire. As you guys remember, that was something you had to kind of struggle with getting into Sundragon territory, is the fact that the Humor Empire has a claim like right in the middle to cut them off. But as Caleb and What's His are pointing out, that if the tide is high when you reach the land bridge and you cross it anyway, that could be an optimal ambush position because you would all be
That
basically
in general
swimming.
Would be a good ambush position because it would still force them to be much tighter.
I do.
True. But
And then,
but at
Kara,
least on
I do
foot,
want
they
to
can fight
know
back.
something. Lucian did a tiny hut, so if you want in, you can. It'll be nice and warm.
This is good. This
Very
is good for
protective.
Carol.
As Queen Sundragon and What's-Is are discussing potential battle strategies, Caleb giving the feedback of a bandit prince, Lucian, you complete your ritual, and since I can tell you're excited about it, would you like to describe your tiny hut?
Yes. I'm very excited.
Interesting.
So it is a 10-foot radius. On the inside, it's very opaque, so like you can see out, but you can't see in. Right now, it looks like a giant rock. That you
What?
can just kind of phase
Pretty much,
into.
she's doing the typical giant rock statement. Like when people usually have tiny hut, they make it. You can change the outside look, which people typically try to do, like a giant rock to make it blend in.
Yeah.
No, I guess in this area maybe it's a sand dune.
Yeah, it's like it's a sand dune.
Okay.
But on the inside, it's dimly lit. And you said it's cold.
It's the desert. It's the desert in fucking Siberia, so yeah, it's freezing.
Okay, so inside the tiny hut, it's toasty.
All right. Tuco, you watch as the elvish woman creates this kind of like almost force field like shield around all of you, and from the inside, that's all you really perceive. But you notice the temperature instantly becomes far cozier, and even though there's no campfire or anything, there's this kind of dim light, as if there was a cozy lantern set in the middle of it all. And as you're kind of looking over all this, Sundragon kind of glances to you again. It seems like she's been like noticing you every time she looks over the group, but like hasn't really had a good time to approach you. But as Lucian's casting the spell and she's kind of nodding appreciatively at the surrounding shielding, she approaches you near the carriage, Tuco, and holds out a meaty, tough, calloused hand covered in her gold-plated gauntlet to you, and gives you a smile. I don't believe we've met yet.
He would definitely regard her outstretched hand before, with a very curious motion, considering he himself is a rat from the Underdark. He makes to put some sanitizer on his hands before he reaches out and shakes. There you go. Pleasure to meet you, miss.
She smiles and. Agnes de Bomb Sundragon. You can just call me Agnes.
Borne, eh? That's a bit of a funny last name.
She smiles and, not my last name, my middle one. Got it from my mom.
Well, I don't really have much of a middle name, though. But it's been great to meet you.
She smiles. Same to you. You've been traveling with these jokers long?
Not long. Just a few days, but... He leans in, just between you and me. I think I might be the only one who's sane. Before leaning back out again. His tail is kind of like twitching.
She gives a broad smile, her face kind of crinkling. She definitely has laugh lines, and just and she kind of pats you on the shoulder, and crossing her arms, looks over all of you, and. But yeah, like I said, I won't keep you guys up for long. I just wanted you guys' opinion of what you think would be the best idea.
I'm thinking it over.
What do you think?
I think.
Did I get anything from my survival check? I got a 24.
You would know
if you
that...
said anything else, I couldn't hear it.
The party was just basically like mulling it over. And Lucian, from your survival check regarding the tides, yes, as mentioned, the tides do tend to kind of fluctuate throughout the day. But if I recall correctly, I may be just legitimately misremembering this, so take this with a grain of salt. But If I recall, as long as you do not approach at dawn or dusk, the tide should be optimal to allow you to cross. Although you don't know how big this land bridge is, it's possible that it's too long for you to cross without having to swim a little bit. But given that Agnes seems to trust it relatively, you imagine it's at least a relatively reliable crossing point. So, with that said, and she looks over all of you.
I will tell everybody what I think about the bridge. It could be either way. I mean, whatever you guys think.
I was going to say, I think the best move would be to... What was the place we were going to go through, Matthew?
The Humor Empire.
I think it is best to go through there. If we can do some damage and also avoid getting caught in a potential... Basically, they may know we're coming, but they may not be able to do an ambush. Could be quite destructive if it's pulled off successfully, but frontal fighting tends to not be as much.
I feel like
an ambush could instantly end this, while a bad battle can be an opportunity to retreat and learn something.
Not to mention, if they know we're coming, well, I'd rather them try and get to us than just keep hammering on Autumnfall. I've never been a huge fan of the Queen, but even she doesn't deserve that.
Which is true. The fact that they know we're coming could cause them to make a bad decision in response.
I do have a polite request.
What's that? What's it?
He's going to pause for a second at hearing that, but he's going to brush it off for now. While we're in the Human Empire, I know that y'all want to raid, but as much as these guys are enemies, the people of these areas are not.
Oh, I understand that. We have nothing against the people, we just want their stuff.
And you think they're just going to give it to you?
If they know what's good for them.
For lack of a better way to put it,
smash and grab.
Barbarians coming into their home.
She kind of looks around and
shouldn't take the time. It should just go straight to Target, not
Target.
Waste.
Why go to Target when you can go to like Walmart?
Ye old Walmart.
Yeah, she kind of tilts her head, seeming a little confused, but brushes it off. And she kind of crosses her arms and thinks for a minute before she turns to you, Lucian, and is this thing soundproof?
I think so.
I think so. I think so. Let me double check.
Yeah, you pull out your spell book and start like flipping through it.
Why should get out a book and
Nothing
start
else
turning
can
pages?
pass through it.
Yeah.
Whether I
Tiny hut.
I thought for a moment you were saying tiny hat.
Yeah, fun fact, one of my homebrew items is a thing that makes your spells fuck up, and Tiny Hut is actually Tiny Hat.
Yeah.
it doesn't say, but I've seen it be rolled that way.
So
Because it says that like nothing that I don't want to like pass through won't pass through.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll say that. I'll say that counts.
Okay.
So you're responding to her in the affirmative?
Yep.
All right. She gives you a nod and turns back to you, Whatses, and kind of frowning a little bit. I appreciate the sentiment, but this is war. You know that better than anyone. And she nods to the various campsites surrounding the tiny hut. I can't march an army that long down south without giving them something. I can tell them that you guys are the experts and that you say we should go south and they'll listen, but if we go east and you tell us not to fight after everything they did to us, that's not going to fly.
Oh, you can fight. And you can take loot from those you kill if you kill them. I'm just saying, don't raid towns that don't have to be raided.
He's trying to say that he doesn't want you to raid the non-soldiers.
Non-combatant military town.
He doesn't want you to raid the common people.
Look, it's tradition. What anyone we take from is free to come with us and move into our cities, and we'll give them a home. But I can't march.
So it's like breaking the legs and they give them a wheelchair.
Something like that. But what I know for sure is that I can't march an army without supplies. Going south, there's more of our territory to subsist us along the way. But if we go east, and she looks again to you, Whatsis, and looks very serious. You want me to march my army east, but not give my troops the supplies they need to not starve themselves out. Our army will be in tatters by the time we make it to Autumnfall, doing it that way.
And plus...
Then wouldn't it be wiser to go south?
And plus...
Because at least we would be going through your territory, right?
Yes, but south, we could be decimated in a single attack.
Hold that thought, Lulu. What's up, Caleb?
And plus, so oftentimes the best way to deal with the king you don't like is to make his people not like him anymore. So if you make things terrible for the common people, don't be surprised if the king you don't like suddenly finds their head on a spike.
She gives a nod and...
What do you think I was going to suggest that my people of bandits do? We're just going to steal everything and make life horrible in their kingdoms until they rise up.
It's not a bad
we finish
idea.
them off.
And she looks again to you, Whatsis. I don't make a habit of killing non-combatants if they don't take up a sword against me. But you can't send us into enemy territory and tell us to take nothing, touch nothing.
I'm sure a compromise can be made to avoid any unnecessary killing and pillaging and just take what we need.
She kind of bites her lip, seeming uncertain, but she's still listening. Kara, while this is going on, what are you doing?
Kara isn't a tactician or anything, so she's just kind of like thinking on what all of this would mean for everyone. And just kind of well, it is true that you cannot just go without supplies. The people we steal from, they can recover as long as they do not attack.
And like I said, if they're really that bad off, every town we hit, we always say they're welcome to come with us. That's why we're as diverse as we are. Almost everyone who lives with me is from somewhere else that couldn't stand up to us.
Besides, we're all family. Or at least where I come from, that's the key.
And
God,
to be fair, it would be better to go to Sundragon than stay in the Humor Empire, because the Yogers are starting to, try to take over. And you know how that battle is going to be. Especially to the people. people who are not elves.
But again,
So
if
it
we
may
can,
be the better option.
but again, if we can get some early victories and start sowing doubt in their leadership, it could be beneficial to us in the future and save extra conflicts from needing to be happened. It would be quite
We're
nice
not
if at
saying
least
we're gonna
some of
kill
them.
everybody, what's it? We're just saying that it's going to be a new opportunity and an opportunity to help feed and take care of the army that is helping us. And Agnes, if it also helps, I can also try to help feed and do stuff with that.
If you could, it'd be a help.
I'll do my best.
I didn't talk about it too much at the time. I need morale to be high right now, but Chopu hit us bad, and a lot of what he hit was our resources, our supplies. I realize now he was just trying to draw Sothis out, but in the process, we don't have a whole lot left. The reason so many signed up for militia duty wasn't just because we want to fight. That's part of it, but there's not enough food for everyone. The farms got hit too bad. There's enough to sustain the people that we left behind, but for everyone who's on this march, they either want revenge or they don't have any other options.
And plus, raiding I could speak from experience, raiding can be a very good way to refill your supplies quickly.
And like I said, the people who we are raiding will also get a chance to join us. So they can get their revenge on both the Father Khan and your dad.
Shouldn't be too hard of a sales pitch to make. He sold out his own capital to the Concord. I imagine the people in the surrounding towns aren't too thrilled about that.
Yeah, and you remember what it was like when we were there. The elves were, knocking on every door and taking everybody that wasn't out or spoke Elvish. So I do think that it is a really good opportunity for them.
Okay, we'll go through the humor.
Maybe I can give you some.
I wash my hands of any ill blood. Not on my conscience.
Yeah, she smiles to you, Caleb. Yeah, getting Tebadran Prince's input on this would be pretty helpful, actually. Zephyr, you want
give you
in
some
too?
tips and tricks on on stealing. We are very good at that,
So I've heard.
Well,
my birth parents were some of the best.
That's so. Wish I could have met him. Or, who knows, maybe I did. And she smirks a little bit.
Ouch.
Zephyr looks to her like, I doubt I can do of any help.
Come on, you're Prince of Thieves. You gotta have some tricks up your sleeve. Besides, you managed to steal from my country while it was on high alert. The bank in the middle of the capital. And I had some of my best guarding that place. You gotta know something.
I know how
What's that?
Some of your best?
Yeah?
That's downright shameful.
I don't think it's a statement on them. I trust them with my life. It's a statement on him. And she crosses her arms and smiles and nods up to Zephyr on the roof of the carriage. From what I heard, he's one of the best thieves in the world. I'd sure like to have his input on trying to go that route myself. My people know how to grab someone by the throat and demand everything or their life, but taking something without being seen would be helpful in and of itself.
Unfortunately, I don't know if Zephyr will do that, because he is more of the person who will do things only if it is to a benefit for him.
Nothing I'm not used to. I'm a queen, remember? And she looks back to you, Zephyr, and with a broad but more mischievous smile. Agree to help your brother lead my troops in the raid, and I'll give you a cut of anything that's taken.
You got him.
I mean...
Do I get this deal even though I'm more than willing to help as is?
She smiles, and of course, as long as you're willing to leave necessities for the troops.
Of course. We have our own.
It's not really gold we want. We just want payback and what we need to keep ourselves going for this march.
Yes.
And some excess to take home would probably be good, it sounds like.
The excess will come from Barbaros's coffers. But if we're going to make a detour east, we're going to need some food from the nearest towns to sustain ourselves for the march.
I guess, from what I've seen, the charge.
She smiles, and a little bit of a tradition we've had since being back home. This is actually nothing compared to what we can do at our peak. Once our food stocks are back and we get some recruits pouring in from the outlying towns, you'll see what a real Sundragon charge looks like.
I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
What do you say, Zephyr?
So you're asking me to lead a group of, typically, raging barbarians to be stealthy?
Yeah, you did it with What's-His. Why not do it with us?
Not necessarily. I mean, they don't have to be completely stealthy. They just have to know when the right time to not be stealthy is. You'd be surprised what people will miss if you just put enough effort into it.
And if you don't want to be on the field, you don't have to. I just really appreciate having some insight from people who know what they're doing. Like I said, I'm no stranger to raiding, but I'm not a thief.
How is everybody's food stash now? Because I can make up to like 45 pounds of food, but I could probably do a little more than that. I could probably do it 3 times. So that's a lot of food. And the water won't go bad as long as it's like.
We got enough for a few days of marching. It's at least enough to get us to one of the nearest towns. She nods toward the south, and if you guys didn't want to head east, my original plan was head to Chilblains by the lake. See if we could get some more recruits and see if they'd be willing to part with some of their supplies to keep the march going. I'm hoping that by the time we get to Autumnfall, our numbers should have almost tripled. Not all of these places got hit by Tropu, but they've definitely gotten word of what happened. And she smiles. If I pride myself on one thing, it's that my people know to fight for what's right.
Right, and that's what I want to also remind you of, is that even though you do deserve to get your revenge and fight, pillage, and do whatever it is that you like to do, you totally deserve that. But I think right now what we can do is focus on the task at hand, which is getting Barbarous and getting to Autumnfall as fast as possible. So as much as I would like to go east, I think the wisest thing to do right now is to go south and get this done. And then after everything is done, you can still march east and
but
take
they
your
still
revenge.
have food problems now.
Well,
And
like
you
she
never
said,
know if they could, and you never know if the Scar Concord is a little bit better about helping each other out.
I'm
we could
really
get
worried.
caught fighting Barbarous, and then the other king decides this is a perfect opportunity to knock a Sundragon down a peg.
I
say
hear
we
you.
need to weaken them now, and then deal with Barbarous, and then finish them.
I hear you. Okay, I hear you. But I worry because, one, the Ichor beasts were there last time we saw them, and the town was in ruin. I realize that it's been a few months, but that
their
kind
capital
of damage,
city.
I understand that, Caleb, but that kind of damage is going to be like a lot on a country, especially if it's being taken by Yogurt, who is not doing so well if you didn't know.
Well, sometimes you have to, as they say, put the squeeze on them.
I know, but the concern is that there's not going to be food and the supplies that we need because maybe they haven't had enough time to recuperate and refresh all of all of their supplies in the time that between the last time we were there and now marching east to get the revenge that they so deserve. But my concern is that there will not be supply. That we're just going to get there and it's going to be a bunch of people who don't have anything.
How long has it been since we were there?
About 4 months.
4 months.
Because 3 months of downtime and then about a month of travel. Because you guys went to Sundragon, went to Sunspot, went to Edict, went to Aragos.
No. Whenever we left the place we're going to. Summer ball. That's what she's talking about.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because after the summer ball, you went to Sundragon, and then from Sundragon went to Sunspot, then to Edict, then to Aragos, then back to... So, yeah, that's about a month of travel and then the 3 months of downtime. So it's been about 4 months since you last saw a city, because while you passed by the town that they're planning to raid, nobody went inside or got a close look at it, so you have no idea what its situation is.
Were those towns, like, affected at all, did it seem like?
Well, nobody checked, so you don't know. You didn't see any ichor beasts in the forest, at the very least, but it's possible that they're gravitating to the cities. You're not positive. Nobody took too close of a look at the town. You guys kind of gave it a wide berth, so none of you really know what the situation is right now. And Sundragon does seem to be kind of mulling it over as well.
Caleb is going to be like, well,
I just
you
had
can
an
make
idea.
food, and getting caught in an ambush is just instant over. Being low on food is not ideal, but we could simply raid. What's the place that we're going
Barbarous?
to after? Yeah, we could simply do some raids in Barbarous before we fight
Now
their main
that
army.
I'm not against. That actually sounds like a much better idea. Even though, don't misunderstand me, Aggie. I do think that you do deserve the revenge that you need, and I want to give you that. But like I said, I think the wisest thing we can do is to go into this head first and take care of the issue before we get our revenge. That way, the revenge is much sweeter.
Ignoring another issue.
What's that?
What if like I said, what if the Scar Concord are a little bit better about assisting each other than our alliances?
I don't think that's necessarily true, because I remember what Lucifer told me. He said that everybody had their own agenda and not everybody got along, especially with Barb.
But Sundragon is also an enemy of... What's the other place called again?
Gyogre?
No. The
Well,
other place. The place other than Barbarous.
Are you
The
talking
place
about
that
the
we have
Humor
to go
Empire?
through. Yeah. It seems like
But
the Humor Empire is not exactly friends with Sundragon and could see
Well,
this
they're
as
not
an
friends with
opportunity to
anybody
remove
right now
them.
because Gyogre is trying to make that their country, that their
Was Gyogre trying to take
uh,
over, or were they just securing the city for their little experiment?
Actually, none of you really know what was motivating Gyogre, but as far as you could tell, it wasn't conquest, it was just slaughter. They were basically, like, giving orders in Elvish, and if anyone couldn't understand it, they were shot, and then the general left with the rest of the Concord. What his motivations for doing that were, you don't know. It could have been conquest, it could have just been bloodlust, or perhaps he had some other kind of tertiary motivation that you don't know
But he
about.
left afterwards, right?
Yes. You saw him get on board.
So they're
Chosen's
not
airship.
currently. So they're not currently. They're probably not currently conquering that place. They were just doing that to that one city.
As far as the ichor beasts go, they didn't kill everybody. And they're not going to just leave ichor beasts that they cannot control in that city.
I still worry that there's not going to be any supplies there, because it's only been 4 months since the summer ball and all of that bullshit happened.
If there's no
And that's
supplies
not
there, then
enough
you
time.
can just create supplies, and then we can
Well,
get more supplies by
what's the
raiding
point?
Barbarous.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is what's the point of going east to a place
Because
we
there
don't
might
know
be
if there's
supplies.
But there
Hey,
might not be.
guys, are we gonna stop moving out?
Well,
we have to go to
We
bed.
got to figure out where we're going.
Lucian is trying to argue about things they
I'm
don't
not
understand.
trying to argue. I'm just trying to tell you what I think.
Well,
I
see, the
do
thing
think
about that
that
last
it's
is
work.
that you've been telling us for the past, 10 minutes. Time is money.
And nobody's listening.
So,
All right.
Lucian, are you a doctor in strategy?
She kind of makes that really annoyed face.
No, I didn't think so.
Ultimately,
Are you, Caleb?
I certainly have experience with raiding.
I
and knowing how to steal
understand.
supplies.
I hear you. And I respect.
All right. Why don't we all put it to a vote? Everybody draws straws, and as he he kind of fiddles around in his bag and pulls out some bits.
At the end of the day, it's not our army.
I know. But I do think that we should go into this head on. We should go and raid Barbarous instead of the human. That's what I think.
The queen make her decision for her army. It is her people.
I do agree on that at least.
She kind of looks
her our viewpoints, and maybe that will inform their decision or just confuse them. It's either is possible.
She kind of seems a little put on the spot, not quite sure how to react. And while she's joked about it in the past, it seems like this is her first time seeing the group's dynamic play out in front of her. And she seems like really kind of uncomfortable. Seeming probably for the first time since you've known her, really ill at ease and not really confident. She just kind of puts up her hands as if worried that everyone's going to snap at her for speaking. And I'll sleep on it. I'll figure out where we're marching in the morning. I just wanted some advice.
That's fair. I'm sorry. I worry that we're gonna get there and there's gonna be nothing there for you, and I just worry about it.
As you said.
Well, if worse goes to worse and there's nothing there, we just move on.
You just move on and then. Take it from Barbarous.
We go there, we get the revenge that you deserve, and then we go back to Barbarous, I guess.
Let the queen decide. This is her army and her people.
Indeed.
Well, as she said, she'll sleep on it.
Yeah, let's just let her sleep on it then.
Yeah, at this point, she's left the tiny hut, and you guys are left to your own devices.
Speaking of which, I'm going back to the cart.
You're welcome to it. It's going to be fucking freezing tonight. You're welcome to.
Well, glad to know I've only been here a day, and it's already interesting.
So, quick question. Why do y'all keep calling me What's?
That's your name, you idiot.
How did you forget that?
God, just when I think that you can't be stupider.
I mean,
Jocko kind of tilts his head and kind of looks at him funny before just. I wish the best for you, mate.
I mean, it is a stupid name. I don't blame you if you want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to change it, that's okay with us, but forgetting your name is just a little bit more stupid than you usually are.
Bet you was a stupid candy.
What are you thinking about?
I ate a candy and it felt weird afterwards. I wonder
That's
if
called
You've got to stop eating that candy.
Yeah, that's called indigestion. You're probably getting diabetes.
Wait. You said candy? You said candy? What kind of candy?
magic candy.
I think he offered it to you previously.
He did.
Oh, shit. Oh, that shit you were trying to get to put off on me. Serves you right, fecker.
Because I could have sworn my name was Gil.
That is a stupid name, what's it?
It can't be as stupid as what's it.
That's true. You are right. You are very right there, Caleb.
I mean, wait, that whole thing where he was trying to call himself Lee is still a thing that happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it happened. Like, it didn't just unhappen.
Wait, was Caleb ever told about that incident?
Nobody was. Only Summer.
Yeah, only Summer knew about the Lee incident, so Gil's the only one who knows about Lee.
Because he forgot about it.
Maybe he had another wish spell.
That is true. Yeah, it is theoretically possible. All
or
right.
someone else had one and used it on him.
You think one of
Oh
us
my goodness, Summer didn't like it, so she cast a wish on
To
him.
be fair, it could happen to literally anybody on this entire world.
Yeah, like, you never know. As far the world you know is just what happened after everyone ever made their wish spells ever.
That's true. That's very true.
All right.
It's like trippy.
Whoa, dude.
I'm gonna stay up a little bit. 4 hours.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wish that.
Yeah, be careful with your wishes.
I can't leave my tiny hut or it will go away. So.
Yeah.
All right.
And Caleb's gonna go.
Caleb's going to freeze outside.
Well, bear in mind, he can be in the carriage and still in the hut.
Is it that big?
Yeah, it's like fairly sizable.
Yeah, it's a 10-foot cube.
Okay, I guess the carriage can fit then. That is not a problem.
Well, what's his? Is he gonna sleep for about 4 hours and then
He's an elf.
No, you are not
into
grumpy.
sleep?
All right.
And then stuff.
Okay.
And stuff.
Tuco, you watch, kind of confused, kind of exchanging a look with Caro as the party starts heading to their various sleeping stations, seeming, despite this victory against the Concord, just as uncooperative and uncomfortable with each other as ever. While you don't know everyone's status, Tuco, it has now been revealed to you that at least some of the party is royalty, and you're really starting to notice it in their behaviors.
Yeah, spoiled rotten some of them all.
Never did nothing.
Yeah, and Caleb was just, just making his point.
And that's what Lucian was trying to do. Ow!
Yes, but Caleb has knowledge that's actually applicable to this situation.
Well, except Gil actually has more knowledge on that.
Yeah, that's true. Gil has even more.
Yeah, the one everyone's calling a fucking moron actually knows the most.
Yeah, it's funny because Sundragon actually was going to ask Gil for what's his for input as well, but the party's argument made her so uncomfortable that she just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
She acts like she's never seen people argue before.
Well, I mean, there's just been a tense argument.
I mean, think about her fucking country. They're all like, bro.
Yeah, basically, put yourself in her shoes for a second. She just lost her father and is seeking revenge against the people who killed him. She's turning to this group of experts who basically got her out of the shitty situation she was in, and it's like, hey, what do you guys think of this situation? Like, I would really like your input on this. And then suddenly all the experts start clawing each other's throats out like fucking wolves.
No, hold on. Caleb didn't even raise his voice. He just stated things.
Well,
Now,
I mean, you can still claw each other out without...
I don't mean to raise my voice. I do have, like, a legitimate hearing issue, so, like, me yelling is just me...
Well,
like,
it's not about voice raising. It's just, like, you can understand that'd be really demoralizing.
Yeah.
It's like finding out how Congress works for the first time. It's like, hey, who's being trusted with my fate and future? Oh, a bunch of people who hate each other.
Like... I'm just gonna point out that experts argue over things all the time. That's kind of like what discourse is.
Yeah, and as we know, everyone loves discourse.
Oh yeah, especially whenever you're not actively participating.
Yeah, but something you asked kind of indirectly caused it, so you feel kind of guilty.
Okay. If you caused it, be like, haha, chaos.
The party settles into uneasy rest. The comfort of the tiny hut feeling ill compared to the kind of nauseating claustrophobia of being near each other.
Oh, my rapper doesn't care. He's just...
That's a little bit harsh.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, like,
I've dealt with worse.
like, we're
I just
used to
have a
it.
splitting headache, so I'm just gonna pray.
All right. Lucian, less keeping a watch and more just having difficulty sleeping and needing less sleep than the rest of the party anyway.
4 days until my birthday.
Oasis.
Lucian, you bend and you pray. Is that it for your long rest? Just before we turn over to
I wanted to
Oasis?
know. I wanted to know what. How many days?
Okay. Currently, your birthday is on the 27th. In the morning, it will be the 22nd. So 5 days.
5 days. Okay.
And Lucian, did you take the time to treat your addictions over the course of the 3 months?
I mean, I put myself into a lot of my studies, so
Okay.
I'm sure. I didn't eat my butt. So I mean,
I thought Matthew already said you did that.
I think so too.
Oh, was that the case?
I think you mentioned
Yeah.
Yeah, you
broke
said
it
that
over
like
the
in the
break.
first session back. You said that was Gil and Lucian got over their addiction.
Well, yeah, I knew Gil did. I wasn't sure if Lucian did because it's on my.
Yeah, you said both of them.
Okay, yeah, because it's at my end of day notes, so I wanted to make sure that that was addressed. Okay.
Yeah.
Lucian, eventually, while your headache remains, you do manage to drift off into an uneasy meditation as you pray. And Gil, several hours into the night, your thoughts are relatively organized and you feel calm and rested. Yes, I know. And rise from your meditation. You see the rest of the party, including Lucian, is asleep. The various animals and beasts of burden are scattered outside of the tiny hut. Caleb sleeps in the carriage, Zephyr atop. As you awaken, what would you like to do?
For now, he's going to go and take care of his new horse.
Okay.
Just simple care.
All right.
While he thinks about one of the comments that was made that the ogre's not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that on his mind, and he's thinking back on everything, like trying to figure out just how badly they're doing.
Okay. Gil, taking some of the excess animal feed from the carriage, almost waking up Caro, who kind of shifts against Garrow in their sleep. Also, with Garrow being mentioned, this is also on my notes to address this session. I described Garrow as a Siberian tiger, but I forgot that was not the case. They are actually just a regular orange, Bengal tiger. So that was on me. I just totally fucked that one up. So for reference, Garrow's orange. Gil, as you take the excess animal feed from the carriage and feed Peanut, you contemplate the state of your kingdom. The Geogran stratocracy that used to be the center of Yavik power, but in the past century has been losing territory after territory and is now relegated to a small island off the coast of the mainland. and you ponder how badly your homeland is doing and exactly what state they're in for your father to feel it necessary to get help from the Concord, and what could possibly be driving them to order their troops to slaughter any non-elvish people in their wake. You all get a long rest. And as you awaken, the tiny hut, I believe it lasts for 8 hours, so the tiny hut, as all of you are starting to awaken, flickers before dissipating, left with only the kind of glittery magical sparkles that rain around you all as the tiny hut disappears. And almost instantly, Zephyr, you're the first to feel it as you're waking up. The kind of ambient, cool temperature of the tiny hut is immediately replaced by the blistering desert sun.
So it's enjoyable.
Just thinking to himself, this is why I slept in the cart. Because he is shaded from the sun, so he just has to deal with the inherent heat in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it sounds like it's an improvement. I see.
As you all gather your things, roll up your bedrolls, gather your equipment, and arm yourselves for another day on the road, you see the queen kind of pacing around the outskirts of the camp, redecked in her regalia, astride her battle warg, and just kind of surveying the camp for trouble as the rest of the militia begins to wake up and gather.
Things the orcs were writing in Lord of the Rings.
Essentially, yeah, except a little smaller and more hunched.
Can I go over to her? I'm gonna get on my.
Yeah, sure.
I need this.
All right, Lucian gets on her broom and starts heading over to the queen. What are the rest of you doing, if anything?
I get the horses hitched up to the cart and get ready.
All right. Tuco, anything?
Not really.
Caleb?
No.
Kato?
Rip Carol. The desert sun shriveled them.
Yeah, they're just like...
Yeah. Just shriveling from the cold and heat.
All right. Anything from you?
No. Caro is, as usual, tending to her creatures, because that is a full-time job.
Yeah, you have officially crossed into it's a lifestyle territory. All right, and Zephyr, anything from you?
Besides just making sure, like, his water skin's filled up. At the moment.
All right. Tuco, you take the time to survey the camp and your new traveling companions. Zephyr, using their magical decanter, fills up their water skins. Caleb, just pulling their hood up, naps in the carriage. Kato,
He naps, but he's gonna be chilling.
Kato tends to the various animals. Hitches the horses up to the carriage, and Lucian takes on their broom and without a word flies off towards the queen as you just go over your chemical supplies and make sure that you're ready as whatever she decides on, battle may be in the near future, as going east, of course, will be a raid, but from the sounds of it, a few of the party members are concerned that going south could lead to an ambush. Lucian, you take across the skies and manage to match the slower stride of Queen Sundragon astride her warg. She kind of glances to you and nods, but continues surveying the camp without a word to you.
I'm just gonna kind of stand there, like.
All right.
This was a lot to think about. I think that maybe we made it worse for you, and I'm really sorry. I forget sometimes to not let my own arrogance get ahead of me. It's still something that I'm sorry that happened.
I appreciate it, but it's not me you need to apologize to.
Oh, they're next.
Good.
But I thought you deserved a explanation.
Excellent.
Apology, and that's whatever you decide. I'm with you ahead. Whatever.
That actually does get her attention, and she smiles at you, and kind of with a sigh, kind of looking over the camp. Everyone here thinks that they're going to be the big hero, but if there's one thing Soth has taught me is that fighting like that's not going to get you guys anywhere. You may not like each other, and you may all come from different places. Everyone in my lands comes from different places too, and we don't always get along because of that. But you have something that the people in my territory don't always get, and that's something to work together on. It's easy to get even the biggest jackasses to work together if you give them a common goal. Besides, and she looks to you, and I'm tough. My people are tough. You guys are tough. If we go south and get ambushed, go east and there's nothing there, Ichor beasts, the entire army of humor, whatever it is, we'll get through it.
You're right. And
right.
we'll get through it together, right?
She smiles and gives a nod. Yeah, exactly. Now, run along and play nice with the other kids. I got my own cats to wrangle.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, Caleb can't argue.
God damn.
Lucy's got the stupid grin, but she's feeling better now.
All right.
I'm gonna go back over to my friend.
All right. Lucian, seeming much more at ease and happy, returns to the carriage, just as Sundragon's voice can be heard calling over the din of the militia camp. All right, everyone! Gather your weapons, tighten your belts. We're going south. We're going to bolster our numbers, make across the Isthmus, and with any luck, we'll be at Autumnfall within the week. Let's show those princesses how proper warriors fight, yeah? And again, at this point, a cheer goes up through the camp, and everyone starts scrambling to prepare for another day marching.
South it is, then. Is everybody in our crew ready to go?
Actually, just one thing. I didn't give you a chance to shine. Maybe I should have. I forget that you are an expert at what you do. It's just very easy for me to forget because you're just a little kid. I shouldn't have treated you that way, and I'm sorry.
No. I accept the apology and just try to remember that this kid could probably do a lot of damage if he wanted to. Not a threat.
I know. I've seen it. I've seen it, Caleb. I know what you can do. I can respect you for that. It's just, I try to remember that you just aren't some kid and you don't need protecting and mothering, but I should try to listen a little bit more, and I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. And trust me, whenever it comes to what's Lucian's expertise again? It's like medical, right?
Medical,
And dead corpses.
And just
Mhm.
anything
Whenever
medical.
I need information on medicine or how long a corpse has been dead, trust me, you're the expert on that field.
Thank you, Caleb.
In awkward flirting, you'll hear what's his pipe up front of the carriage.
Saying,
What's
Get
his
out.
piped up? Her expertise is also awkward flirting.
It's true. I'm not good with people, but I try. I'm gonna get out the Zanzibar's book that I still have, and I'm gonna kind of give a tap to the roof of the carriage, and then I'm gonna take the book and I'm gonna like put my arm out the window and like reach up
Yeah.
so he can
try to hand it to Zephyr.
and I'm just gonna be like, I'm sorry I didn't get this earlier. I was very busy and I was only thinking of myself, but thank you for letting me use it in a roundabout way.
Is Zephyr going to take his book of skill back?
Well, I mean, yeah, because he hasn't used it yet.
Oh, he hasn't.
Yeah, he let the rest of the party use it first.
But yeah, like I gave it to Neon first.
Can't.
Yeah, he let Neon have it, and then like it just kind of got passed around, without Zephyr fully having it.
All right.
Yeah, he'll take it. Just kind of look confused as he's I'm assuming it's your hand.
Yeah. Zephyr, you retrieve Sarcy's book of bardic inspiration and skill.
My hand lingers there for just a few seconds, maybe hoping for a high five. But then, like, when she realizes when it's not gonna come, she'll just kind of slowly take it out.
That was painful.
But, Lucian, as your hand retracts into the shade of the carriage, you are at least somewhat mauled by the fact that he took the book. He clearly heard what you said, at least.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
The angry kobold took his book back.
Yeah.
Actually, what I would like to do, like, now that I'm in the kitchen, not with the queen, like, I'd say maybe, like, every hour I'll check through Misha's eyes.
Okay.
And see what he sees, since he's far ahead. Like, he's not too far, like, I can't communicate with him.
Yeah, the 100
but he's
feet.
far enough to, like,
Yeah,
see before we...
he's 100 feet from you.
Okay. All right. Make a perception check on behalf of your hawk.
Mishka, my Mishka.
That one.
Little Mishka.
What if
He was
the hawk?
distracted by a mouse running through the foliage.
What if they had a negative
thinking,
perception?
That's my name. It's a hawk perception. So I have to look at the hawk. I gotta get my hawk stats.
Hawk stats.
Stats. I literally wrote into Google hawk stats without any other.
This will help me.
This, and it's like Alabama hawk stacks. So I was like, wait, what? How did you know this is Alabama?
Let me say, how did you know? As if you actually are.
Information. Okay, so perception is oh, he gets a +4.
Yeah, it's
No,
your proficiency.
Because his key side.
Well, yeah.
Because,
They are
and I get
hawk.
advantage.
They are hawk
Well, it's not even keen
Yeah, they
sight.
get a hawk has advantage
It's just that,
on some perception checks that rely on sight, and I did specifically say I was looking through his eye.
They have proficiency.
Okay,
in
okay.
perception.
You are not gonna believe this.
Man.
I rolled a
What?
natural 18 and a natural 20. Yes.
Make it sound like it's not believable.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
was believing it.
Okay, it was almost 2 natural 20s, but the other one hit a Whataburger bag.
Yeah,
A
my other
Whataburger
one,
bag.
it would have been 2
Yeah.
natural
Oh,
20s, but my,
Whataburger over there?
well, we got,
Yeah.
it's leftovers.
Delicious.
I thought about getting Whataburger, but I was like,
God
man,
damn, I want some now.
I'm gonna get myself
Probably
sick of
have
Whataburger.
worked there.
Yeah, I work
You
there.
worked there.
You know what's
probably
really
already
good is
eaten
their
quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I tried to get Swarovskis, but my break was too early, so I got Taco Bell. That was kinda
that is probably the most Taco Bell statement you could have made. Like, I
Wanted to go to
My
this
first
place.
option, I couldn't go, so Taco Bell.
Taco Bell it was.
Yeah, I'll be honest, their breakfast
Taco
is
Bell.
kinda
It's the last option.
No,
Yeah.
You managed to find a Taco Bell that actually serves breakfast.
you mean the one just like the
Yeah, they
Whataburger?
also serve breakfast.
Every Taco Bell I've tried to go to see what that shit was all about, they don't have it.
Well, what time did you go? Because it ends at like 10.
I went in the morning.
It begins at 5 a.m. and ends at 6 a.m.
It ends at 9 a.m. Yeah.
I went pretty
Okay.
early here.
Alright,
but
what-
still didn't
Alright,
have
what
it.
does
Either way.
me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
I'm
be
gonna
like,
just
I'm gonna
be
be
like,
like
I'm
in the
gonna be
carriage.
Mic
like
at
in
a
the
time.
carriage.
Sorry.
Sorry, I forgot that.
It's not-
I'm gonna be in the carriage and my eyes will be closed and I guess who's next to me? Mouse Boy?
Yeah, Tuco.
Yeah, so I'll put my hand on Tuco's shoulder. I kind of give it a squeeze, and I'm just gonna be like, I can't hear anything right now, but I am looking through my hawk, and then what do I see?
Do
You
you
see
realize
Tuco
how
with an instant
weird of a statement
erection.
that is?
I'm
I
sorry,
can't-
what?
They grabbed your shoulder and said, "Just so you know, I can't hear anything right now because I'm looking through the eyes of my hawk."
Can we just say how weird
that-
of a statement that is?
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of syntax there.
Yeah, alright.
Oh, yeah, she can't hear you anyway, so.
Can you hear you?
You get the distinct impression Tuca might have once been into you, he's not anymore.
Wow.
He can't hear you.
You don't like crazy.
It's
It's fine.
You don't
Always
like
the pretty
crazy.
ones. It's always
It's
the pretty
fine.
ones. Why are they always so insane?
It's alright. Agnes probably hates me too, so it's fine.
Caleb was just like, It sounds like I made a very good choice in my preferences.
Your preferences. What did you prefer?
The people, trying to think of what would be a way to put this.
I love that Zephyr on the roof can just hear his brother trying to say he's gay without outright saying it.
He
He
likes
likes
to
the
be
male
funny
speaking.
like that. He likes to
Oh!
be funny about it.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah, he'll just say, I'm interested in others like me, if that makes any sense.
Oh! Me
Meanwhile,
too!
Lucian's there, her,
I like 'em
her
all.
eyes are glowing blue and she can't hear a fucking thing.
Guys are the best! Yeah, no, just so long as they're pretty and dainty, that's really all I care about.
Okay, I was just gonna say that
That's the same.
Caleb's probably a lot more sure about what he says than I was.
Okay. As
So what do I see?
Yeah, as the two of you delightedly fucking swap preferences, Lucian, as Mishk takes to the sky, rather, like, goes higher up into the skies, you can see that in the distance, visible on the horizon as, again, salt flats and desert, so not exactly hurting for being able to see what's around you, at least. You see that the flock of cravens that's following behind you is starting to bolster in number a little bit, which is not a great omen, but not unheard of in Yav. Life in the desert is beginning to rebuild, especially out here that didn't get hit by Tropu as hard. And in the distance, further south, where the party's going, you can see what appear to be two massive lakes. With this, like, out in the middle of the salt flats and desert where there's just no life, completely inhospitable, you see these two lakes, and all around them is an oasis, just out in the nothingness. And around that oasis has been built a town. You can see people kind of going to and fro. You obviously can't make out specifics this far away, but yes, you can see that the flock of cravens is getting bigger. Life in the desert appears to be going on as normal, and you're heading towards what is from what you were told, a Sundragon territory that from the looks of it is situated, basically built around this oasis out in the desert.
Caleb is just like,
I'll just say it out loud. I'll just say out loud. I'll just say out loud. I'll just say.
You're gonna say.
It looks like we're gonna go get some oasis.
All right, and Caleb, what were you gonna say?
Wait, can Caleb see the oasis, or did Lucian's hawk see it?
Yeah, it was just Lucy's talk. Although she does mention out loud, like, because she can talk, she just can't see or hear. Yeah, she excitedly sputters that that you guys are getting close to an oasis.
Caleb was just like, oh, that should be a good place to get supplies.
I come out of my trance, and I'll be like, what?
Well, if I come into an oasis, that's a good place to get supplies.
Exactly, that's what I thought too. I didn't realize it was going to be an oasis, but this is better than I thought.
Well, where else are you going to get, food in the middle
Well,
of
they said that they had a
desert?
they had a settlement. Come on, it's a Sundragon.
You guys join the militia in their march for the better part of the day. And eventually, the first indication that you're getting close to Chillblains is not the sounds of city life or anything like that. What effectively gets your attention is immediately all of you are greeted. Caro, you noticed it first. Tuco shortly after, and then one by one the rest of the party gets hit with it. This smell of exotic spices, not too dissimilar to what Mercurial smelled like. Those spices, though. And you all get hit with this kind of like interesting smell of like various spices. But Caro, I will say you specifically, having a very keen nose.
For Lucian's keen mind.
Yeah. Caro, you notice that beneath that's all those spicy smells, you also pick up this kind of bad, like, sulfury odor. Not like fire, but like it doesn't strike you as a terrible smell, just not necessarily a pleasant one, and you initially are struggling to associate it with what it is until you remember it reminds you of the smells back home out in your swamp.
What is that smell?
Do I
Bear in
know
mind
the
the
smell?
bear in mind the rest of you just smell like delicious spices. Caro's the only one who picks up on the kind of swampy smell.
I smell is spices.
Would that be nice?
It smells like home. What is this?
What is your home like?
It's a swamp.
Could be something to do with the plants and the water of the oasis. Because if I remember right, swamps are just plants and water, right?
Caro, you would know that to be true.
Yeah. swamps do not smell good by what most common people think.
Yeah, but sometimes the smell of home can smell like shit, but if that's the smell you know, that's the smell you like. Like, I'm sure some parts of Topanga probably smell like shit.
I mean, it's Tobadro. The whole thing's gonna smell rotten.
In a figurative sense, I cannot deny.
The afternoon sun continues to beat down on the carriage. Those of you inside, protected. Zephyr, you're cold-blooded. It's better than the freezing cold that the party's been going through recently. You just kind of lounge on the top of the, basking like a bearded dragon as you take in the sun's rays. And you travel without a shirt most of the time anyway. The heat is nothing you're a stranger to.
Yeah.
What's his...
Eventually, the sun begins to set by the time you guys are pulling in closer to the city. And rather than set up camp outside, while some of the militia do stop their beast of burden and start pitching up tents, the bulk of the militia start heading into Chillblains.
Into the 50.
Caleb, you kind of hop out of the carriage ready to actually get to have some civilization after a few days on the road. What are the rest of you going to do?
Just chill.
Alright.
Ghetto? Like... Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Caleb?
Okay, there's just like... the same thing I know about spices. The places that have lots of spices usually have lots of trade, which means they have good shit.
Alright.
We used to rob places like this all the time.
Zephyr?
Speaking of robbing.
Zephyr just robs every town on his way there.
Yeah, well, or that's what our plan is, right? That's essentially what
We're the good guys.
Yeah.
He says with a grin.
Like Zephyr never claimed to be the good guy.
A relative term.
Yeah. But
we're better than the alternative.
Yeah, Zephyr's just gonna kind of enjoy the sun rays.
All right. Well, bear in mind the sun's starting to set. It's going to be night soon.
Well, I'll enjoy it while it lasts.
All right. Keto, you back?
His reptilian ass.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What will you be doing? Caleb's heading into the city. Zephyr staying with the carriage. Tuco is just gonna kind of amiably hang out.
Caro is suspicious, so she will investigate.
Suspicious of what? The city?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
The smell like home type of thing.
Okay. What will you be doing?
He's gonna stay with the cart as well, and he's just gonna try out a couple more of his candies. See if he can't get better results.
Oh my god. He's literally going to do that until it kills him.
Well, look, here's the thing, it's gonna run out.
Do it now where it can cause almost literally no harm.
I mean, it's gonna eventually run out of candy, so.
Oh no, it refills.
Refills?
It's never ending.
That is just... He made
So
candy.
yes, he will just keep doing this until it kills him.
Yeah. So you say better do it now.
Yeah, better kill him now. I mean, that's not what we were talking
Right
about.
as we're about to probably be involved in some fights, we're going to have our tank seppuku himself.
Speaking of, all right, if you're just gonna chill at the carriage and eat candies, I'll tell you what. Roll me 3 D100s, and we'll say those are the results you get over the course of your chilling.
I believe a 1 is death, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh fuck, that's close.
What'd you get?
It was a 3.
All right.
The first one.
First, you pull out You pull out a half-eaten peppermint. It looks delicious, but it looks like somebody else got to it first. And you immediately find yourself suspicious of who's been raiding your candy bag.
I bet she was a rat.
Yeah.
I take offense to that.
Roll another D100.
42.
Meaning of life.
Yep.
You roll the candy of the goddess Hecata. It's this kind of torch-shaped candy, and it has this very interesting spicy flavor. You're basically tasting the air of the surrounding city, or rather the city outlying near you, but nothing happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So far, it's been, it's tamed.
And 86.
86?
Yep.
Suite of invisibility. You become invisible for the next 24 hours, and this cannot be dispelled or removed.
Gone.
He's invisible now.
Yeah, and...
I shudder to imagine what Gil could get up to while being invisible.
Well, we'll have to see. So, we'll come back to you, because bear in mind that was the last of the sweets you ate while just chilling at the carriage, so we'll get back to you.
What did the
Alright.
3 do?
Well, 3 is literally nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, so, Lucian, what will you be doing?
I like how 2 is
Uh,
there.
I'm gonna go hang out with Aggie and see what she's gonna do. Maybe go and meet some people.
Okay.
Try to be
And-
social for once in my life.
Alright. Tuco, you see that, and Zephyr are staying at the carriage. Caleb and, Caro are heading into the city, and Lucian flies off on their broom to presumably go flirt with the queen some more. I know you said you
Hey,
social,
squad.
since I know that you said you wanted to just kind of hang out, which group do you want to stick with?
Sorry, say that again.
Caro and Caleb are going into the city. And Zephyr are staying at the carriage, and Lucian's off to go hang out with the queen.
Sure, he wants to go visit the queen.
All right. Tuco, watching Lucian start getting ready to fly off. You know that where Lucian flies, the queen is likely at the end of that trail. So, interested in getting to know this very personable royal a bit more, you start kind of scampering through the sand and salt after the flying elf.
If I see him, I'll offer him a ride. He can come on. He can come on the boat.
Oh shit! Really?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah! He's like, how? He kind of gives you an odd look. So, how do I?
Just jump on.
Yeah, all right. He just like latches his claws into you and then like swings himself
Yeah,
abroad.
like a
and
fucking
gets ready to go.
motorcycle. It's she's riding like a motorcycle. Just hop on.
I mean, yeah, what is a broomstick but a magic motorcycle?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you call a flying rat?
Usually a bat, but
Seagull.
I
A seagull.
was gonna say a seagull because they're the rats of the sky.
That is
Right.
That is definitely a Florida joke.
All right. Caleb and Caro. Two of you start making your way towards the city. And since I normally make a habit of saying this, welcome to Chillblains. Looking around, you notice that obviously a lot of the life in the city revolves around the central lakes. It is a welcome reprieve of water and plant life and shelter in an otherwise very unforgiving desert. And the first thing you notice as you roll up into town, there are walls erected around the town, although the gates are currently closed. However, on seeing your approach, the guards just kind of look you over briefly, before seeming like they're at least content that the two of you aren't an immediate concern of theirs, and make to open the gate for you, especially seeing the militia behind you. But what interests you is what the guards are wearing. Most Sundragon people you know tend to be very loose with what they wear. If they're clothed at all, it tends to be just pants and nothing else. Maybe boots to get them across the sands better. But Caleb and Caro, as the two of you start heading into the city and the guards make to let you in, you see that these people are decked out head to toe. Wide-brimmed hats with this kind of mesh wiring dangling around them, which then meets up with the neck of a very thick-looking coat that then trails down into gloves, working pants. Yeah, very much like a beekeeper's uniform, sort of. Like imagine a medieval beekeeper.
No, not the bees. No, no.
Saw this thing where it's like, oh, yes, I love the bees.
Yeah, I saw that video. And because of them wearing these thick outfits, you imagine it has to be like boiling from having been out in the sun all day. And whenever they talk, their voices are kind of muffled by all of that.
Like Caleb was just gonna be like, "Are you trying to roast yourselves?"
The guard kind of looks down to you and kind of giving you a nod. As you can see, they are interestingly, you notice both, whereas you've seen guns in the hands of the Sundragon troops before, for the most part they seem to prefer the axe or the fist, but you notice both of the guards wield rifles. And they kind of give you a nod as you pass them by, along with Caro, and kind of lowering their voice. They kind of give you a nod. Better than letting the Queens of Darkness get on you.
The Queens of Darkness?
They give a nod, and the other guard pipes up. Again, muffled a bit by the mesh, but still understandable, thankfully. Strixes, we got an infestation.
Does Caleb know what a Strix is?
Make a nature check.
Okay, let me get some light. I thought my light bulb burnt out on me for a second because it didn't turn on at first. Nature. It's a nature check, right?
Yes.
I get +2 to nature because Caleb is somewhat intelligent. 11.
Okay. Let me double check to see if they're native to this region. In the meantime, Caro, anything from you? Caro?
Okay, sorry.
You okay?
No, yeah, I accidentally muted when I meant to unmute.
Ah, I've been there.
Caro will, like, look around, just like, what is this? What are these things they're talking about?
Okay. Make a perception check. And Caleb, I will say you're not intimately familiar with them. However, you've heard the name. The Queens of Darkness, or a Strix, is a blood-sucking bird species that, while it does live in the region, you know that it only lives in the Sundragon deserts. They've never come far down south or east enough to be a problem for Tabedra, so you've never encountered one, but you've heard the name. Blood-sucking birds that travel in swarms. But that's about all you know about them.
Oh, those things.
I got a...
And Kara, what'd you get, just real quick?
I got a 26.
Okay, noted. The first guard kind of nods to you. So they have been recently. Guess whatever was going on in Capacitas drove them down here, and, well, And they kind of nod to the palm trees that dot the oasis. It's the only place that gives them somewhere to nest.
Is the city safe?
Safe as we can be. They're nocturnal, so we just tell everyone to head inside and let the soldiers take care of it during the night.
Is it hot in those outfits?
You have no idea, mate, but it's what we gotta do. I'd rather be sweating than bleeding.
Hope they're giving you extra water for those outfits.
Of course, sir. No reason to worry about us. We're selling this material in the city if you want in on it, but I'll take it from you going pretty well healed. You with the militia?
In a sense.
Pleasure to meet the two of you. Yeah, feel free to enter the city. You're with the Queen, after all. Just, sun's going down, so I'd get off the streets pretty quick, like.
Fair enough. I smell a lot of spices. This place get a lot of trade?
Aye. We're the center of trade in Sundragon for the most part, at least for out here this far east. The spices are not just for selling, though. It's also to cover up the smell.
I think my friend here noticed that smell.
Aye, we've learned to tune it out after a while. You got a keen nostril there, miss.
I see.
Yeah, she said it smelled like a swamp.
Aye, didn't used to smell that bad, but once the Queens of Darkness came in, they started to pollute the water. So we just make sure to distribute smelling salts and that sort of thing to make it a little more habitable.
Well, imagine being a center of trade, you can find a lot of items in the market.
Aye, sell some of the more exotic goods. Feel free to take a look around.
I think I will.
Welcome to Chilled Lanes.
Thank you, sir. Caleb gives like a little bow.
The guards return it and kind of wave you in, Caro. And as the two of you enter, now past the wall, you're able to get a better look at the surrounding city. Looking around, you see that, as you could have imagined, the city's pretty much everything, all their organization, is based almost entirely on the presence of the oasis and the two lakes. These two, they're not like, they're nowhere near like the Great Lakes in size, but these still two fairly sizable lakes. And then in the center, this just lush bit of woodland that is untouched, and of course like trees and plant life growing around the edges of the water, and almost as if trying to minimize their impact, you can see that there are various humble but respectable homes built to essentially go out over the water, almost like docks, but then almost retract back in and start building up. As it seems like nobody wants to have a house that's far away from the lake, so they just build the houses essentially on top of each other, so everyone's living in these like lakeside apartment complexes. Like the city's only like about like 3 layers deep in terms of like streets, but then like 7 or 8 layers high. And overlooking it all appears to be the sort of capitol building for the town, which is this large dome-like structure, almost kind of this Taj Mahal-esque thing that overlooks the entirety of the lake and is reflected in it. And surrounding the lake itself, and even in it, you can see people on small schooners and cutters that are essentially sailing from coast to coast of the lake, selling goods. And rather than market stalls or dedicated stores, it seems like there's just these boats that the merchants own that they just take around the lake waters and sell to people on the coastline. Although for the most part, given the condition the city's in, they are mostly tying up their boats to the docks and returning to their homes, as again, nobody wants to be out at night. With that said, what would the two of you entering the city like to do?
I guess I'd just like to look around, see what this place is about.
Okay. Caleb?
Caleb wants to see if there's anything interesting in the market.
Okay. Both of you make investigation checks.
Investigation.
Again, a 4.
Okay.
Let's see. 18.
Okay. Keto, you and Caleb take off into the city, and almost immediately the sand and salt of the desert gives way to just the wooden and bamboo structures that make up the actual mass of chillblains. And Keto, you're just like taking in everything you're seeing, and it is like a fairly happy town despite the circumstances. While there aren't people on the street, the city definitely doesn't have the nightlife it used to. You can see a few brave people still out and about. At one point, you and Caleb are crossing a bridge, and you can see a figure lighting fireworks that sail off into the air and whether they're celebrating the arrival of the militia, the presence of the queen, or gods know what, it creates this air of not being incredibly hostile. However, that is occasionally broken as while you guys cross the various bridges that go over the lake or watch the boats go by, occasionally you'll see patrols of heavily armed soldiers ready to strike down any Strixes they see flying around as the sun begins to set. Caro, you're too busy taking in the kitschy tourism of it to really process any one thing. But you can see quite a few interesting looking characters strolling about. Caleb having a bit more of an eye and also having a more specific directive. You turn your attention to the maritime trade on the boats. And while, again, most of the shops are closing up at this point, you do manage to catch a man as he's tying his boat up to a dock you and Kara are walking by. You can see he currently is wearing a wide conical hat similar to what the guards are wearing. And while it does have the mesh, it's currently kind of rolled back and tied behind his head. You can see he's very tan, has some scars on his face. One of his eyes appears a little white, like as if he's got cataracts, and his clothes are a lot more covering than you'd expect from Sundragon. It appears that he is at least savvy enough to be careful, as it seems he was out a bit later than most of the other merchants were willing to be. And as he looks up, you can see he does have a mustache and goatee, but where the scars on his face are kind of cut into his facial hair a little bit, so it kind of grows in patchy and unevenly. But he gives you a friendly smile as the two of you look at him. And something I can help you with, young man?
I'd like to get an idea of what is being sold here before maybe coming in the morning.
Well, we sell a little bit of everything. We get magical imports from Autumnfall. We get resource hauls from North and the mainland. A little bit of he gives a kind of sinister smile. Friendly takes from further east. We have a little bit of anything someone could ask for. Did you have something in mind, sir? I still have a little bit of my stock left over from the day's sales.
I don't know if there's anything in particular I was looking for. Just seeing if anything caught my attention.
He smiles and nods to his boat, which appears to be a kind of humble little schooner. And me, I'm selling weapons. And let me tell you, it's a good time to be in business, especially now the militia's in town.
Boy, I'm sure you'll be having a lot to sell.
Aye. And he kind of looks up at the night sky and kind of scrunches his face a little bit. And
It'd be best to return in the morning.
yes, sir. You best stay off the streets. There's and he kind of leans out of his boat to point further down the road. Just down the way, across that bridge there. There's a place for you to stay. You're carrying weapons. You with the militia?
In a way.
Aye, militia members should be welcome to stay if the Queen's not there already. Just tell them who you're with, and they should let you ride in. You two stay safe now.
You too. It's just gonna walk down that way. Once he's a little bit down, he's gonna say to Carol, I wish we could have gotten here earlier.
Oh well, it'll be okay.
Alright. And, Caro, have you done anything you want to do, or are you just going to follow Caleb towards this guest house that they've said would welcome you?
She'll just follow Caleb.
Okay. Lucian, with Tuco aboard your broom, the two of you kind of track which way the Queen is going, more based on the presence of militia than anything else. And you can see that it appears the Queen is not too far behind Caleb and Caro, and the bulk of the militia seems to be following her, although quite a few are staying out at the camp. Although whether they're just there to guard it or for whatever reason don't want to enter Chilblains, you're not sure. But Lucian, you and Tuco come down for a landing just as Sundragon is kind of joking with the guards who have already opened the gate for her by the time she arrives, and she gives the two of you a smile and a nod as you come to a landing near her as she starts to cross the threshold of the gate. Hey, you two, forget something?
I just wanted to come along and see what I can do to help you.
Well, feel free. I'm coming to meet with the Lord, see if he can't lend me a few of his troops for the militia.
Is it okay if I come with you and observe? I'd like to try to get my a little bit more learning on how to do things diplomatic.
Sure, although she kind of rubs the back of her neck. Not sure if I'm the best person to be giving political advice.
Well, I study educational. And I get to be with you. Her nose is a little pink.
Thanks, Lulu. How about you, little man? You in this for a little, so that I can play teacher, or do you just need something?
Be honest, I just came along just because trying to figure out what everyone's business is.
Well, feel free. And at this point, you guys have crossed into the threshold, but you're like just after the gate. She turns and kind of looks to you, Tuco, and how comfortable are you with showing your skin? Or fur, at any rate.
I beg your pardon?
Okay, I'm gonna say this real blunt-like. Are you okay being naked in front of other people?
I mean, he kind of gestures to his jacket. Aside from the jacket, I kind of am naked.
Well, I don't want to discriminate. All right, you'll be fine then. Lulu, and she gives you a very serious look, Lucian. Look, there's customs here that I'm expected to follow, but I'm not going to ask you to do that. Are you sure you want to come with?
Hold on. I don't mind. It's good to she's like trying to like process what's going on, but like also like trying to get the point across that she still like wants to learn other customs and learn to like do things
real
like
respectful, like all in all that business, eh?
Yeah,
real respectful.
He totally just doesn't want to enjoy the view.
Yeah, and Sundragon seems to pick up on it, especially after Tuco's ribbing, and just and she kind of pats your cheek, Lucian. Just, all right, you'll be fine. Just keep your eyes up.
You're a disaster, doll. You know that? You're a fucking disaster.
Oh no, I'm not saying that for my benefit. Lord Ephemerals.
He's saying that to Lucian.
And no, like that was like an in-character like confusion. And she kind of nods a bit as you confirm you're speaking to Lucian, but she kind of glanced to Lucian and with a smirk, just, well, the point stands. I'm not saying that in reference to me. Lord Ephemeral's a lot of things, but he's not a looker.
I have a twin brother. There's nothing I haven't.
Oh, you just wait. All right, come on, you two. The bathhouse is just down the road. Cross that bridge there.
I just my look just because I'm curious now. Jeez.
I
am a doctor after all, Aggie.
Doctor.
Technically, I'm not like a doctor because I didn't get a doctorate, but I studied it like for 170 years. I think that makes me a little qualified.
I mean, do you think that stopped people in these times?
Yeah.
Or just like be like thinking.
There was a complication called my death.
That's true.
Yo, what?
I didn't get that far into my studies because I died.
Right. Okay.
The funny thing is, she's actually telling the truth.
Oh, I'm sure she is. But from Tuco's perspective, bitch be crazy.
Oh no, yeah, that
is crazy.
I'm seeing through my hawk's eyes, but also I died.
Like, Tuco is just like, it's just being slowly convinced that Lucian is a psychopath.
That's fine.
I mean, it doesn't take much convincing.
It's true. It's fine. She's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, you get to go see your girlfriend naked. Everything's fine.
Yeah, your girlfriend that's totally your girlfriend.
Yeah, not just somebody you're crushing on.
I mean, okay, she's been mooning after her for a while. Come on. I think it's a little bit
to be exact.
now.
I was like, you've been mooning after
4 months.
It's a long time, dude. We got married.
And for most of that,
we got married after 6 months. Listen, me and Jeremy got married after 6 months. So, I mean,
you say
that's still 2 months extra. Anyway,
you're looning over
I'm
her.
just saying, time is just not the boss of you. You know. You want to.
Time is just a number.
Time is not the boss of me.
Yeah, so is a lot of things.
True.
Caleb, Kato, the two of you arrive at where you were directed by the merchant. You find yourself standing in front of a relatively well-off looking building not far from the central meeting hall for the higher-ups. The building itself is also kind of dome-shaped, much again, that kind of Taj Mahal-esque feel, although between two factors. One, the visible steam rising from a chimney at the top, and what hits all of you, this Kato, that swamp smell, it's coming from this building. And Caleb, you can smell it now too. The distinct smell of sickness and acridity mixing in with this humid air that's just billowing out of this building. And you realize it doesn't necessarily make you think of like, you know, something very elegant like the Taj Mahal. It almost gives you vibes of like an onion, and you're about to peel the bastard by going inside. You see that out front is a very ornate set of double doors. The entire building constructed mostly out of wood and, again, like kind of bamboo, and you can see the building is kind of visibly like almost like marinating, as you know wet wood is in and of itself not pleasant. As you see, or rather take in this building, you can see out front is a Sundragon woman with dark hair, appears to be elvish. Her hair is a little messy, presumably from the heat, tied back in a braid, much like how Lucian's is. And she kind of just gives you two a kind of almost indifferent nod. Her skin is heavily tanned by time in the sun, and she looks a little pallid and sunken a bit. Again, the building is this almost like onion-shaped structure with a chimney on the top, an ornate set of double doors, and you can hear the kind of low murmur of chatter coming out of it. But this humidity is like, and the smell is just, the combination of the two is nauseating. Caro, it's not anything you're unused to. You're familiar with swamps, intimately so. Caleb, you almost feel your stomach turning.
I wonder if there's any
Big
other
time.
place to stay.
As the two of you kind of hover outside and debate with yourselves, Caleb kind of voicing this concern into the still night. You hear some footsteps further down the docks and hear the voice of Queen Sundragon. Hey, you two!
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
So we found the smell that Carol was worried about.
Oh, yeah, that'd be Lord Femoral.
Hmm?
He's the acting lord of Chilblains and the surrounding territories.
Is he creating the smell somehow?
Yeah.
Does he have some kind of sickness?
Yeah. Apparently, whenever the outbreak first happened, one of the Strixes, and she kind of mimes biting. And apparently there was something on its beak that got into his blood. He's got some kind of parasite.
I'm assuming there are no other places to stay.
Oh, there are. I just have some business with the man, and these two wanted to tag along, and she smiles to Lucian and Tuco behind her. But, yeah, there's some rooms in the upstairs of the bathhouse, if you can stand smelling the guy.
Oh, great.
And she kind of frowns and crosses her arms, still bedecked in her armor and everything, as she kind of looks at the building and kind of frowns contemplatively. From what he told me in the last letter I got from him, everyone who gets sick from these things just stays in the bathhouse, soaking in the water to try and keep the aches away.
Maybe I could take a look.
Yeah, you said you're some kind of doctor. Maybe you can help out. We don't.
I got relation there, I assure.
Yeah, we don't exactly get a lot of doctors for obvious reasons.
Well, like I said, I'm here to help, and this is how I can help you.
Ah, well, maybe you'll have something to bring to this meeting after all, instead of things to lose. And she kind of visibly trailed her eyes down your dress.
Her face is just like 5 shades of red.
Taylor was like, well, I guess it'd be interesting to see some Lord.
I mean, I'm really curious
Taylor's like,
about
it'd
this
be
guy,
interesting to
though.
see some
So,
Lord
like,
stuff in action, I guess.
yeah, like, I'm really curious to see this guy. I'm really curious to, like, see how this goes. Like, maybe I can see them after the meeting?
I guess if you want. I'm sure he won't mind just having a meeting with you. You gonna stay out here?
No. I can do this.
Alright. And yeah, Tuco, as Caleb and Lucian kind of excitedly discussed getting to see the politics between Queen Sundragon and Lord Ephemeral, you kind of give a concerned look to Caro.
Oh.
Are
Are you okay, Caro?
I am fine.
She gives the gathered four of you a smile and, well, all aboard is going aboard. Oh, you two probably don't know. This is a bathhouse, first and foremost, so there's a policy.
You go strip.
Okay,
That
just,
doesn't
I
bother
can
me
do this,
too
I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
That doesn't bother
Oh,
me
you
too
know
much.
you frickin' can.
It's just, I'm a little self-conscious, I have a lot of... I'm
What,
damaged.
scars?
Yeah, I'm very damaged. It's not very appealing, and it's just very...
Oh, come off
you know.
it. I'm sure you look good.
Honestly, people in Sundragon probably like scars.
He's right.
Okay. She kind of looks a little unsure, but she's also looking a little determined that she really wants to
Drip.
no. She
Yeah, no, she's legitimate. Yeah, let's be nice. She's legitimately grappling. It's meant to be kind of an awkward, unfamiliar environment.
Yeah.
Hey, those are a bunch of bandits. They're used to living rough.
Yeah, and Tuco's a rat man. He does not care about modesty. The queens of his species are literally always bloated and always making babies. He is used to this shit.
Yeah, not Lucian. She's just been raised differently. This is very new to her, but she wants to try to experience it without feeling like she has to. But this is her decision.
It'll be fine, Lucian. No, trust me, no one here is going to judge. And besides, Sundragon will probably like scars.
Lucian, as the party bolsters your confidence, Sundragon gives you a bright smile before knocking on the ornate doors of the bathhouse, and immediately a small, cutout slit pulls back, and you see a pair of beady eyes looking out from the other side. And they say, in a language that none of you recognize, although Lucian you're at least academically familiar with as native Midgardian. And the man on the other side of the door kind of squints at the queen and, Amor. And she gives a smile and tilts her head and almost kind of throws her hair over her shoulder, kind of showing off, and gives a smile and responds, Lindworm. And the door...
I'm gonna cast tongues on myself so I can understand what they're saying.
All right. As you cast tongues, the thing slides shut, and the doors are opened, and you see the guy is huge. He had stooped to be able to see through the little portcullis, and you see this just massive, muscular, power lifter physique Sundragon man, deeply tanned by time in the sun, and I cannot emphasize this enough, really wide and completely shirtless, and all he has covering his lower half is a very basic, kind of almost sumo wrestler style, cloth tie around his waist.
Yeah, like a loincloth.
Essentially, yes. And this massive, human bicep has a cigar in one hand, and on his belt you can see, kind of nestled awkwardly in the towel loincloth, is this very interesting, almost scimitar-esque blade that he had a hand on the hilt of, but slowly removes it from. And Queen Sundragon smiles and looks to the man, and to her credit, doesn't miss a beat as she, I have some business with Lord Ephemeral. He's expecting. And by that, I mean he's not, but he'll get used to it. And she smiles and waves her hand for the rest of you to follow her in, as the big guy kind of glances at all of you suspiciously, but then focuses his attention on the streets as you realize he wants you guys to enter quickly so he can shut the door so that none of the owls get in. Do you all enter?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yeah. I'll just kind of quietly say that guy kind of reminds me of what.
As you all enter, the door is shut behind you and barred. And the big guy continues to just wait near the door. And at the entry point itself, you guys find yourself in this steaming hot sauna, but there's a bamboo wall separating the room you're in from what you imagine is the rest of the bathhouse. Although you can see there's not even a door, there's just like an open entryway out to it, which currently standing in front of it blocking your view is another Sundragon man. This guy is a little more clothed, but not by much. He wears a very simple like pajama shirt and shorts and a pair of slippers. You can see he has a very thick like bushy gray mustache and has to kind of peer at you over a set of spectacles, and he has a really big head that like it's just this like funny round head, and his hair is this kind of dark greasy mess that he has kind of slicked up into a cowlick, and he overlooks all of you and kind of nods at you one by one. You can't tell what he's looking for, but eventually he holds up a hand and do any of you need medical attention?
No, I'm all peaches.
That depends on who you ask. But no.
He kind of furrows his brow a little bit at your answer, Lucian, but then looks to Cato and Caleb.
No, I am okay.
No, we're just here with her pointing to the queen.
Yeah, and she gives a nod, and yeah, they're my guests. Make sure they get some of the best. That you can spare, of course. I know you got a lot of patience you're taking care of, mister. And she seems like she's asking the guy to introduce himself, but he doesn't. He just turns away from her, and you realize that whether it's because this is currently the occupation of another lord, it feels like they don't have the same reverence for her that the people in her actual city do. While she's clearly being listened to, she's not necessarily being respected. Whether she notices that or not, she chooses not to comment. He simply turns to look over all of you before his eyes settle on you, Lucian, and he gives you a wide smile and... Remove, please.
I kind of look in a panic at everyone.
Okay,
let's go. I start with the thing one by one.
Yeah, we won't go into detail, but
is that actually what he did?
Yes, should I actually, I guess, for the sake of it, dismount armor?
All right.
All your clothing.
One by one, you all...
I gotta get rid of the boots, probably. Do I have to get rid of the boots?
So if you want to follow this place's rules, yeah. One
What
by
about,
one...
like, my jewelry? Do I have to, like... Is my jewelry okay, or...?
Yeah. As you kind of pull at your religious necklace, kind of debating whether you should take it off or not, the man, who has not taken his eyes off of you the entire time, just kind of gives a quick flick of the head and... The shinies you can keep, unless you're looking to trade.
No, this is very important. Thank you.
All right. He looks over all of you. Caro, do you disrobe?
It is a moist environment.
Yeah.
Tuco?
Yeah, he does, but it's noted that he puts a lot of pride in his jacket as he folds it up and just ties it around his waist.
All right. The guy snaps his fingers, and the big guy steps forward, and we can hold on to anything that you can't fit in your hands. We'll watch it until...
You're gonna want to be careful with this, mate. It's live. As he again very delicately folds it up.
We will show the utmost respect to the property of Queen Sundragon's guests. And he snaps his fingers again, and the big guy just holds his beefy hand out to you.
I guess I technically have
Can I insight that, please?
Make an insight check.
Can
And
Caleb help?
yeah.
Creeper over here staring at me.
Roll insight with advantage, but as always, give me both rolls.
He's worse than Gil.
Gil, I'm starting to get used to this guy. Not so advantage, you said? Good. I rolled a 14 and a 15.
Okay. Both of you,
So
Lucian and
19.
Caleb, despite your argument just the day before, you both look to each other and kind of share a silent and understanding nod. This guy is absolutely planning to try and fucking either ditch your shit out back or try and sell it off while you guys are in the bath.
Yeah, I'm gonna put everything into my bag of holding and just sling it over my shoulder and put my hip out and put my hand on my hip. No,
Yeah,
my
Caleb's
stuff is
gonna
going
do
to
the
stay
same.
here.
Tuco, you see Lucian and Caleb both all of a sudden they just look to each other and then suddenly are just clinging to their stuff and refusing to hand it over.
Oh my god! If we just have a hero
Yeah,
moment,
no, it would be at that point that Tuco would get out a sort of purple powder and spritz it over everything before pulling out another vial of yellow powder and keeping it on his person. This doesn't get sprinkled on it, it'll go nuclear. He said with a very nasty grin as he hands over the coat.
The man kind of grimaces and seems kind of bummed. Caro, do you hand your stuff over?
If I disequip the scimitar warning, do I unattune with it?
No, you only unattune if you're essentially not using it for a very long time, but you can you would have to be away from it for a long time, so you're fine.
I think it's either distance, time, and I think if someone else attunes to it, then they get attuned to it.
All right. Yeah, Caro, do you give them your stuff?
Well, everyone seems to be very suspicious of them, so Carol's like, my suit is waterproof, so this will be okay.
As you wish, miss. And he looks a little bummed and just kind of jerks his head to the guy who has Tuco's coat and everyone else keeping their belongings. As in the state of undress you guys are in, Queen Sundragon smiles with her hands on her hips and kind of gives you all a wide smile and ladies first, and then promptly walks in.
I love her. How's she looking? Just for Amanda reference.
She's looking naked.
Let me put it to you this way, Lucian. This woman could bench press you easily.
I'm into it.
They could probably bench press
Don't
all
give
of
her
us
any
who are here
ideas.
combined.
Honestly, seeing
Woman who can fight better.
you see her body is covered in scars and burns, but with her physique, you imagine that if you were to sit on her back and she were to flex, you would go flying.
That's fucking dope. She's so
Beef
cool.
steak.
I'm just kind of she's so cool. Okay, let's go.
All of you enter into the bathhouse. And immediately that swamp-like smell gets way, way worse as you cross the bamboo threshold. And you can see even the mustached guys sprinkling some spices and smelling salts around the door to try and keep the smell out. And as you guys
actually whimpers at the smell.
Yeah.
And Lucian's not doing much better.
Yeah. And the four of you can immediately see the cause. As you cross the bamboo threshold, you're now in the rest of the bathhouse, this circular building where essentially just all these different bamboo and stone tubs are just essentially in think of the way a cafeteria is laid out, but with hot tubs. Except it is not a place of relaxation as you would expect. Instead, what you see is the bathhouse workers, presumably, trying desperately as they run from person to person, treating this flood of ill people. Caleb, as you guys are walking by one of the baths, you see this guy who looks like he would have been a very strong Sundragon man initially, but he kind of slowly turns his head to you as it lounges against the wall of the bath, and you can see he's shaking and he looks exhausted, and he kind of stares at you for a second. It looks like he's going to say something to you before he just stops and leans over a bucket and just vomits. And all of the people in the baths are in a similar state. And Caro, as you and Lucian look around, it seems like they're just trying any treatment they can think of to try and heal these people's ailment. You see, like, one bathhouse operative, like, sprinkling shit in front of one of their noses. You see another one's, like, doing, like, chants and praying to their gods. You see them, like, trying to force these people to take, like, spoonfuls of what appears to be lemon juice.
I have a question.
I may have an answer.
Well, actually, I have several questions. So, question number one is, does it seem like they all have the same thing? Because they did say that these were all bitten by Sturgis, correct?
Yes. Well, before I answer that, what's your other questions? Just to see if it can't all be resolved in one roll.
It's kind of like a follow-up question. Is to, like, do they all seem like they have the same thing, and can I tell what that is?
Okay. Make a medicine check.
I can do that.
Okay, I was gonna whisper to the queen. I don't like your odds of getting extra soldiers here.
Yeah, I don't either. Well,
Ooh.
some people gotta be hunting the birds, right?
But they're not going to want to spare those people, are they? They want them hunting the Strixes.
Gonna be real with you, Sheila. I've seen better at my own place.
That would be a whopping 27.
And plus, they don't seem to have the same respect for you as your people in your capital did.
No, it pisses me off.
Well, I can't be everywhere at once. They're allowed to have their opinions. I don't need them to like me. I just need Lord Ephemeral to like me. Lucian, as you look around, yes, they all appear to have the same symptoms. From the looks of it, they have this kind of, like, they appear to definitely be running fevers. They look exhausted, and they're, like, just shaking and, like, trying to stay under the water as much as they can. You can see that, obviously, people are nauseous and vomiting, and everyone just looks really, like, tired and sore, and just you can tell why these people are basically just living in the bathhouse now. Are
they presenting flu-like symptoms, or are they just like different symptoms?
Yeah, they have flu-like symptoms.
Okay.
Your character, it sounds like malaria.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
And as for whether you recognize it, you actually do. It has not spread in Yav before, at least not that you know. Again, Strixes are not common here, and they only live out in the desert. And from the sounds of it, it was Tropu, like, chasing them out of their nests in the outlying forests that chased them out here, and now there's just too many of them.
What a shitbag.
But you do know this disease by name. Specifically, this is called the Adama Plague, after the land of Adama where the disease was first discovered.
Is there a cure?
With your medicine check, I will tell you that... I have it noted, I just need to... I need to check my notes to see what the cure actually is.
Oh, by the way, when are we ending?
10:30, 15 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, sorry about that. You know that a reliable cure has not been found yet, as the disease is still very common and typically just, fatal. But I will say that you are aware that if it's a venom that the Strixes are spreading, you could possibly take advantage of that to like produce an anti-venom, which is not necessarily within your skill set, but it's something you have like a vague awareness of. However, you also know that Strixes have various organs that are very useful in the construction of potions and various chemical recipes. So even if it's not a venom causing it, you imagine that you could use things like their feathers and their guts to potentially produce produce at least a treatment, if not a cure. But an actual cure is not known to exist.
All of that. Use. Okay.
But they probably won't be here long enough for the use.
I can give them something to do. I'll kind of whisper to Aggie. Know what's wrong with these people and what's wrong with him. Maybe we can use that.
All right, keep that in the back pocket.
Got your back.
It's the front I'm worried about.
She looks like she wants to say something, but she's not exactly sure what it is that she wants to say, and her face turns pink again, and she's just like, thumbs up.
Queen Sundragon walks you all to the opposite side of the bathhouse, where you walk past just all these suffering, ill people who, yes, I will say, like, while obviously it's given a fantasy lore, yes, what they effectively have is malaria. And
I'm guessing it being a Dama is something to do with, like, all those stories of, like, colonists getting malaria.
Well, not only that, but malaria is also commonly called the American plague, presumably for that reason. And I was like, well, the equivalent to that doesn't exist yet. So the closest would be the continent it's on. So I just went with that.
Fair enough.
That said, she guides you all to the opposite end of the bathhouse. You're surrounded by steam. You're starting to sweat already. The air is filthy, stagnant, and disgusting. The steam only just barely chasing away the fucking just fumes of these ill people. And sitting in one of the larger baths, you see 3 figures. 2 elvish women, both with dark hair. They appear to be light elves, potentially Geogrin. 2 elvish women with dark hair and pale skin, kind of unnaturally pale, given that they're Sundragon, flank the sides of a man in the center. Sitting in the center, you see a kind of elderly-looking man. His hair, what hair he has is graying. He's not bald, but he is balding. And he has a kind of like obvious patch on the top and just graying hair surrounding it, and it kind of hangs down loosely as if it was well kept at one point, but hasn't been recently. His skin is very sunken and tallow, although he does have the natural, what you initially think to be the Sundragon tan, and while he is definitely very tan, you also notice that his skin does just seem to naturally be a darker coloration. But you look past his sunken cheeks, his kind of dark and tan skin, the graying, patchy, balding head, and you notice his eyes, which seem like they ordinarily have this kind of striking grayish gold to them, are jaundiced by yellow. And you see that his skin appears to be kind of pallowing. And interestingly, you note, as he kind of watches you approach, he does have something of a goatee that's kind of braided, almost Viking style. Although it's not as impressive as like a proper Viking beard. It's more of like a little wisp of a beard that he just braids like it's a proper one. And he kind of looks you up and down. It looks like he may have once been a very fat man before losing a lot of weight, presumably due to his illness. and he looks at you all with jaundiced eyes, and you see he pulls a stone out of the water and starts to kind of suck on it contemplatively. And the queen approaches as the two elvish women kind of look to him, look to her, and then kind of like slide to the side of the bath as he continues to suck on the rock and stare at Sundragon, his jaundiced eyes matching her golden blonde, as she gives a deep bow and kind of turns over her shoulder to gesture for the other four of you to do the same.
Oh, I guess Caleb will follow suit.
Yep.
Definitely do that.
Sundragon looks up from her bow, not all the way, not raising her head. That's important, but just kind of looking up from its lowered position, and she gives a smile and... Lord Ephemeral of Chillblains, thank you for welcoming my militia and companions into your fair city. Lord Ephemeral, kind of looking at the rock that he's been sucking on, he kind of spits on it and lowers it back into the water to scrub it a bit. And as he's doing this, he looks up at all of you, and with a kind of suspicious look at all of you, squinting at you through his yellowed eyes, he finally speaks. Welcome, Queen Sundragon, to Chillblains. My city welcomes you. And he bends over, and one of the elvish women holds out a bucket, which he promptly vomits into. And as he rises up, you notice that's part of its blood as he wipes his mouth.
Oh boy, this guy's got a triple decker, don't he?
He kind of looks to you, Lucian, and you notice his gaze kind of flicks up and down your form before he turns back to the queen, who gives a smile, and... I've brought you information, should you wish to hear it, aid, should you wish to receive it, and the word of an expert, if that be something you want. He sucks on the rock a little bit more, and I'll say, Lucian, with your 27 medicine check, you actually know what this is. Some of the symptoms of Adamic fever are said to result in thinning of the blood, which some people believe that if you can draw the essentially iron and calcium out of rocks, that can help you kind of supplement it. So it's not uncommon to see the infected sucking on rocks to try and relieve their pain.
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually,
I just kind of give a wink, like I know the kind of pain he's going through.
He seems to actually catch your winces. He seems very focused on you and kind of gives you a suspicious glare and flick of the head before he turns back to the queen again. I will hear you, Queen Sundragon. Your militia is welcome in my city. And he opens up his arms, and Agnes looks up to all of you over her shoulder and gives a smile. Well, so far so good. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Just Lucian awkwardly doing the 2 thumbs up.
Oh my goodness. Good thing I'm not there. It would not have ended well.
Yeah. So, the party, after a bit more argument, has sort of gone south rather than agreeing to do it, and arrived at the Sundragon city of Chillblains, which is currently seeing an infestation of Strixes, courtesy of Tropu's chaos and deforesting, and as a result, Adamic fever is spreading throughout the city. The guards are forced to heavily armor up and tote rifles to shoot the infectious birds. And even the very lord of the city is forced to live in the bathhouse just to relieve the pain of his symptoms. But Lucian is a lot of things, one of which is a doctor. Perhaps her expertise may be able to alleviate the pain that these people are going through. And, failing that, the city may have a use for her expertise with the dead before long.
Filthy necromancer.
I mean,
Yeah, filthy necromancer.
Yeah, no pressure for the filthy necromancer.
Yeah, speaking of, if you guys want to see more of my DMing, check out twitch.tv/GrahamCrackers, GrameCrackerz, for my Friday campaign, The Goldshine Investigations, taking place at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, featuring a party of investigators that are trying to unravel the cultish conspiracy that threatens to plunge their home into war. If you want to see more of us, basically, check out our website at officiald5hub.info, resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer trying to treat malaria. Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Pandora, Google Podcasts, iHeart Podcast Network, all sorts of places, wherever you get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions and the Odd Tornado Productions YouTube channel to catch up on what you may have missed. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Human Rogues Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Killer5. That is 5 with a PH. Do not get it wrong. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link's about to be posted as well. Or on Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Odd Tornado Productions. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. The TNO are in fact capitalized. And if you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Mondays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time for our Monday game Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters that are trying to assemble the artifacts of the gods in order to get what is either a valuable treasure, a terrible curse, potentially the preserved body of an ancient Second Age warlord. One of them. But I think that's about it for me. Thanks everyone at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.